Hello, 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 hello. It is Thursday. It is Thursday, and it's time for another. Oh, sorry. It's time for another stream. Another day, another stream. Oh, I know what is missing. I see something's dark in here. I know why. There it is. Now it's brighter. Perfect. Yeah, something was missing. I just didn't see it at first. Okay, yeah, another day, another stream. And today what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into the next personal feedback session. It's been 2 weeks already since we've done the first one, so it's time to do the next one. There have been quite a few pieces submitted, so we're gonna look at them. We're gonna give feedback on them. Yeah, welcome back, Hustler. Hope you had a great Thursday. Hope you enjoyed your day. Hope you have been doing fine, maybe even better than fine, maybe great, maybe amazing. Yeah, that's what we're going to do today. Of course, we're going to begin with the 30-minute quiz sketch, daily quiz sketch. We have a few left. I think I calculated that on the 31st is the last one. So right into February is basically the, well, you know, the 1st of February is when it ends, I guess, or well, the 31st rather. Which is I think a Monday, which is pretty interesting. Yeah, so we're gonna begin with the 30-minute quick sketch, and then we're gonna go to the feedback session. Yeah, I mean, if you want to see only one of these topics, there should be timestamps in the description or in the timeline. Once I've added them, I will probably put an effort into doing that this weekend. But I will make no promises, okay? Okay, yep. So let's get into Blender, so we can begin with the quiz sketch. You can see what today's quiz sketch reference is. This cool insect mecha bot. If you want to know who made it, it's Thiago Almeida on ArtStation. There he is. Let's say they. There you go, Thiago. He has made quite a few. I think they look pretty cool. I like this one especially. This one looks cool. Same with which one was the other one that I liked? This one is also pretty cool. And then at some point down here we have this one. That's the one that we're going to use today. Welcome back, memers. No, memes are heaven. Now I know what you did there. I always said memers haven, but it's memes are heaven. I just today got that when I downloaded your images. Okay, yeah. Now at least I know how to say your name. Okay. Yep. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed your Thursday too. And we have a few more. These ones I actually didn't see, but they look pretty cool. So if you wanna, you know, draw some mecha insects, you know where to go. And this one's the one that we're gonna sculpt today. Let's get back to Blender. There you go. Okay. I mean, yeah, we can begin, and then we have as much time as we need for the feedback session. There were a few more that have been submitted, or at least one more, and then a few or one more that has been resubmitted. Everyone on Twitch and YouTube calls me memers heaven or haven. Surprisingly, yeah, because it's like all you have to do with your name is switch the S and R, and then you have Mimir saving. So it's, you know, I don't fault them for it. Okay. You know, I think that's sort of you know, almost the worst that can sort of happen. You try to come up with a name, and then, you know, you have like the perfect name that you want to have, but then everybody sort of unintentionally reads it wrong, and then you have a completely, or like a separate or a different name than what you originally came up with. That's must be pretty weird. Okay, yeah, let's begin with this, and then we can go into the feedback session. We have the clay strips, we have everything. Perfect. Let's begin. Oh, hold on, I need to change something real quick, and then we can begin. The topic. There you go. It is not community, it is nothing. There you go. Oh, nothing. There you go. Perfect. Like when I see Noggy and read furry, well, that's only you. Because you only have eyes for furries, so, you know. That's choice. it's a choice, not a lifestyle. Okay. Yeah, let's begin. We have the timer. We can begin in 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, there you go. Perfect. Oh, hold on. Okay, now we can begin. Let's go. So, I think we have a little, we have fewer than usual when it comes to the submissions. Well, I think it's in line with the usual feedback sessions. Just last time we had like 13 or so it was double the usual amount. So you know, I don't really expect to get that often. But you know, yeah, it was pretty crazy last time. But now at least it's a little bit, you know, a little bit more chill. I kind of realized last time that I was sort of, I was always multitasking in my head, sort of thinking about, well, what's the timer? What's, what do I want to say about this? How could you make it better? And how could you, you know, how could you, who's next? And, you know, reading chat and all that. So it was kind of a little bit more stressful than I wanted to be. So if you know, if at some point it's a 15 or whatever, if it's more usual than we get that many, then I probably need to change some stuff. I don't want to give them up. I think there are a few things that you can do to reduce the amount, which can probably help, you know, which you know, I probably need to do at some point if this continues to become more over time. If fun to do hard surface modeling with scope tools. If fun or it's it can be quite challenging at some point. But what I sort of usually do is, if I do like a full-on project with hard surface modeling or hard surface pieces that are like organic but still hard surface, like this one here for example, what I like to do is I like to sculpt it first, and then through retopology it usually gets very, very clean. So I don't necessarily look exactly at the like I don't try to make the sculpt as smooth as possible. Usually it helps to just kind of, you know, make the main shapes, I guess, as clean as possible, and then usually you can rely on the subdivisions, for example, to make everything else very, very smooth too. If you haven't seen it yet, I talked about it yesterday. Yesterday a new video came out. My quick sketch where I did a female body. So if you want to see how I did it without a base mesh, maybe that's interesting to somebody, you can look at that. And yeah, see how I did that. Yeah, I think I talked about it before. I was kind of surprised how well it actually went. But yeah, I also considered maybe doing the next figurine that we might do with doing it freestyle, just to kind of test it out, depending on what kind of pose we probably do. Although we can probably do it anyway. Yeah, you know, just gonna experiment and stuff. You mean the speed run? Yeah, the speed run. The speed run, exactly. I noticed somebody commented that the eyes look kind of weird. I noticed that when I looked back at it. The eyes are kind of misplaced. They look sort of, yeah, they're a little bit higher than they should be in the final render, and I had to place them manually because I broke symmetry, so I kind of, I guess, messed it up a little bit. So it looks kind of weird, but you know, what can you do? That's not the main, that's not the interesting part of the video, so it wasn't too bad, I guess. There he is again. Bottery Hyde is back. Welcome back. Hope you've been living your best life in your zeros and ones. Hope they have been treating you well. Okay, there you go. Yeah, what I usually use for these hearts of a sculpt is especially a lot of crease, the crease brush. Also, what you can use is the fill and scrape brush to make everything very, very clean. You could maybe even use the flatten brush because they work really well in making hearts of a, or you know, surfaces in scope mode very, very smooth. There you go. Maybe a little bit too wide. I want to make it a little bit slimmer. Another thing you can do is you can... That joke's probably going to get old very soon. Maybe I should make a Nightbot command or a Nightbot trigger that he just bans you when such a link gets posted. You know, maybe. And then that joke will be old very, very soon. So what I want to do here is I want to use the mesh filter because I want to make the tip a little bit pointier. So I want to try this. What if I now just use inflate and do it invert? Pull it into the middle. It gets sharper. There you go. Looks pretty cool. It's probably unnecessary to do it this way, but it makes these the corners really, really sharp. So that's what I like about it. Of course, the tip is a little bit different, but yeah. There you go. Been feeling quite... Oh, did you actually convert some sort of text into binary code? Body looks really nice. Yeah, I like it. I think it came out well. I've used, of course, some reference for it. But I was actually surprised how comfortable I was sculpting it. I think I, for the most part, can sort of nail every muscle sort of. It's one of these cases where I don't, if I just think about it, it's hard for me to nail all the muscles and where they are. But once I actually do it, I can sort of, in the moment, sort of while doing it, I can sort of place all the muscles, I think, sort of at least, you know, in the right place. Maybe not perfectly, but at least in the right place, and, you know, make it look proportional and okay. Of course, that is a fairly neutral pose, so when it comes to like movement and all that, it'll look a little bit different. But, you know, at least for a neutral standing pose, it works quite well. Of course, for Chun-Li, it's more dynamic, so that's one where I can sort of practice doing more dynamic poses. But, yeah, it's, I think the real challenge is not necessarily getting the muscular body right, but more that more getting bodies right that are not lean like the one that I sculpted there, because then you have to factor in the fat and how it moves, how it sort of flops around, you know, and how it changes the volume of the body. I think that's even harder than just kind of, you know, going in and sculpting all the muscles anatomically correct, because muscles don't necessarily change. They don't have like, they're very, very tight, so they don't really change their volume in different positions. They only really change their volume when you like move, I guess. They don't really just by tilting yourself a little bit, your body doesn't change or your muscles don't change, but fat does. So that's, I think, the next challenge that I want to face at some point. Yeah. Welcome back, ZKA Gen. Hope you enjoyed your Thursday too. How do you do? Do you know a YouTube channel called Bad Normals? I do. I do. Why? He usually does more not sound effects, VFX stuff and geometry notes and all that. But I do know him. Yeah. Fat changes everything. Yeah. Muscles are like they're like retopology, so basically like a math formula, and then you have fat, and fat is it's like, I don't even know how you would equate it. I don't think there's anything in math that you could equate it to. I think it's like interpreting songs in music. That's how I would describe fat and all that stuff when you sculpt it. You know, you always have to look at the situation. You look at the circumstances. You have to take all of that into account, and then still have to sort of simulate it in your head yourself to kind of get to the right solution, which is kind of hard to do, and requires a lot of attention to detail and also experience, similar to sculpting clothing, for example. It's just yeah, it's just one of those things that I think you can really only learn through experience and observation. You can't really just like learn one thing and then you know it. That's the expert level of sculpting. I like to what I probably want to do for the follow along sculpting sessions is I want to split it up into different, although I thought about doing that, like splitting them up, or like saying for what sort of level of, I guess, skill it is, like skill level, applying a skill level to them. I separated it in my head to like beginner, advanced, and expert. But I probably don't want to do that because, well, you know, you can always try. You know, I don't want to like put somebody off just because it says like they're like they consider themselves a beginner. They might then not try like an advanced, you know, sculpt, even though they might be able to do it. So I probably wouldn't put it in the video, but I sort of did that in my head. And I think if you would relate that back to like fat, for example, I think fat and clothing is something that is like on the expert level because it requires just a lot more time and experience. If you have free time after live, check out this channel. He uploaded funniest Blender video. Okay. The last one that I've seen of him was the how to recreate a movie FX in Blender. That's the last one I've seen. What's the video title? Maybe I've seen it before, but I've not watched it. Okay, there you go. Oh, yep, perfect. Grab the snake hook. I actually want to use the move brush for this, or transform tool. I don't want to change the fall off for my what is it? For my if only I could speak. For my snake hook brush, I don't want to change the fall off. Problem with the fall off is always for these snake hook brushes, if you want to just pull out like this straight neck, you would have to change the fall off to constant, which is always annoying to do if you switch between different use cases for that brush. So I usually just don't bother. We have 60 minutes, perfect. Enough time for everything. Okay, is that... we need more volume. We need more. That's better. It's getting better. Let's fill the neck. I also added some new tracks, some new tunes to the playlist. So not a lot, just a few, like 3 or 4 or 5. They're the OST from Minecraft. The new one, 1.8 whatever. When I played a little bit recently, I kind of realized that there's new music and it sounds very different to the standard music, so I kind of wanted to include that because it's very chill and very relaxing. Very not as wild, you could say. Atmospheric. I used AI to make Blender tutorials. Well, what was he using? Like, I don't know. Dungeon AI? AI dungeon. Doom Eternal for speedruns. Yeah, I mean, oh, you mean, yeah, for videos maybe. I usually like to use chill music because, you know, if you're, for example, try to maybe even follow one of those time lapses, I don't think you would really want to have this super intense music in the background, because you would probably pause a lot to kind of see what happens, or to kind of analyze it more, and then, you know, like pausing and then unpausing, pausing, unpausing, you know, having like the contrast being super loud and super quiet because you pause it, I think can be quite annoying. So I try to make the music rather chill. I actually did a Blender speedrun at some point in the beginning. I think in first month, one of the first YouTube videos that I uploaded was a Minecraft speedrun in Blender, where I speedran creating the Minecraft dirt block or grass block, Minecraft logo basically in Blender. I think I reached 30 seconds or a little bit more. I'm the record holder, you could say, you know. You can try to beat it. I dare you. You can't. I improved. I perfected that technique, okay? That's actually where I learned how to switch between like how to switch the windows here in the in those interfaces. Oh, yes, yesterday we learned how to switch between these tabs here, the workspaces. You press Control page up or down. Da-da-da. So if you ever wanted to do that with a keybind, now you know. Really, really useful. Saves you a second, and that second can add up, you know. I can buy speeding up the video. Well, but then I only do it quicker, so... or if you make a new one, I guess you could speed up the video. I think you could still do it faster than I did, but I'm not going to try. Oh, we still have 12 minutes, nice. We can actually give this more detail than I thought. Or Blender's new asset store. Well, I created the you can't really use the asset store if you do the same technique that I have used, because I downloaded the block texture in the speedrun, so you couldn't really like you know, adding it to the asset store would take longer than just, I guess, you know, leaving the download or folder open and then just dragging it in. You could try, as I said. I dare you. You will never beat it. It's unbeatable. Okay. It looks kind of weird if it has such a small neck, but I don't want to... Oh, 11 minutes? Let's see. Oh, we could do something else. What about this? So we grab this and then we invert it. Then we can pull it down. Well, not with the mask brush, of course. With the snake hook brush. Look at that. Oh my god, isn't that amazing? Today's technology is truly amazing. Perfect. Getting into full body sculpting is hard, yeah. We looked at my first body sculpt yesterday. It was quite a sight. Oh, there you go. Front faces. There you go. Harder than getting into making the face. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's just more to learn, you know. I think it, like, you know, you can probably just say, well, the face is sort of part of the body, so you just kind of learn more of the same. Kind of learn how where the muscles are and where the fat is, and then you put everything on top of each other. And then, you know, it just, I guess, more to learn. So it takes a little bit longer. It's harder to get it right. Or, yeah, it takes longer. There you go. Perfect. Now we have some more room. Let's make a nice little plated armor piece here. And then we have something that is a little bit wider and a little bit more appropriate. Right now it looks kind of like some UFO. Let's see if we can change that. Some sort of drone. Alien drone. I guess you could say bugs are somewhat like alien drones, but are not these kind of drones. I want to make it a mech, not a drone. Okay. That's better. That's already better. Okay. He kind of looks like he has some sort of shirt on that he kind of lets, you know, he kind of lets it fall down a little bit more to kind of show his shoulders. Like he's trying to impress some sort of dude from the, you know, with his back. There you go. Okay. Make it wider, and then we're good. You know what? No, I'm not going to make it wider. I'm going to do something drastically different, and you're going to see what it is. I'm going to go to the front, and then I'm going to chop off his neck. Look at that. Oh, hold on. That doesn't work. Well, there you go. Perfect. Nice. Makes it look nice and intentional. I wonder if it works. Oh, hold on. Oh, look at that. That looks pretty cool. There you go. Oh, wow. That looks pretty cool. Okay. Is it a helmet? Well, I don't know. Maybe there's some sort of face underneath it, but it doesn't look like it. Looks like it's, you know, part of the mech itself. Six minutes, perfect. Make it nice and sharp. There you go. And then add some eyes. I probably want to go into more detail. So we need more resolution. We sketch day 354. Perfect. Okay, let's go into 50. 50 territory. So, yeah, let's begin. So what I want to begin with is probably today's music is solid. It always depends on what the random playlist gives us. Feel like dancing? There you go. Not flatten. I want to use that one. Is it that one? Filler, right? Yeah. There you go. I mean, the drunken dance is also a dance, so no, no shame on that. Okay. I think sort of that learning one or two dance moves, or like looping dance moves, is probably like one of the easiest things you can do to sort of show off somewhere, you know. Doesn't even have to be at a party. It also could be, you know, but I think, you know, just kind of learning one or two dance moves that can sort of work together can really, really quickly improve your swag by a lot. So if you ever want to increase your swag by 10, plus 10, then, you know, just do that. Just learn some dance moves and then you're good to go. Then all you need to do is wait for the perfect moment to show off your new skills. Maybe you even have fun, so you know, you get into it even more and you learn even more. And at some point you're a professional dancer. Swag 101 not found. Well, time to create one. Just notice you're going to reach 300 followers soon. 300 followers. We're on Twitch. I appreciate it. Thank you. I don't really look at Twitch that much. Yeah, I don't really put any attention to Twitch when it comes to any milestones or whatever. So I don't really look at it at all. But I appreciate it. There you go. Perfect. Wait, we have... Okay, 2 minutes. Oh, no. Okay, hold on. I think that's clean enough. Let's go into... Oh, hold on. I want to pinch it a little bit. Let's pinch this. Don't scream, please. Okay, nice. Just hurts a little bit. There you go. Perfect. Kind of messes up the hard surface part, but that's okay. There you go. Okay. Into the face. Found your scope render similar to Arcane intro? What do you mean? Your scope render similar to Arcane intro. Do you mean the intro of Arcane looks similar to than my scopes? Similar to my scope? Oh, I actually found on ArtStation they uploaded the actual animation files for Arcane. Not the files, but the characters. They uploaded the models, the 3D models. It's interesting how much, or what they look very, very, I don't know, I thought they would do more with 2D pieces, but they actually did most of it, or like basically the whole model is basically 3D. I thought they would do more with 2D, with the hair, for example. I thought the hair would be some sort of hair cards, but they're actually 3D pieces, which is interesting. Okay, 20 seconds, hold on. We're almost there. Almost. What could we do here? Oh, we could sharpen this part here. There you go. Beautiful. Amazing. Nice. What do you think? Is it good to make one sculpt a day? Kind of like a speed sculpt, or put a lot of time to make detailed models? I think... I actually wanted to make a video about that. I uploaded a clip where I kind of spoke about it a little bit. But I probably want to do a video about that once I finish all my year of quick sketches. Kind of, you know, talking about my experience and what I think of it. I think to kind of talk about it for a second. So you don't have to make it like a challenge. So I think the best way to use quick sketches is to use them to boost your knowledge about a new topic that you want to learn, for example. So if you say, hey, I want to learn, like for me, for example, how I could use it is I could say, I kind of, I know what faces now look like, more or less, like how I can sculpt realistic faces. So what I want to learn now is how I can create expressions. I want to learn expressions. So what I could do is I could say, hey, to learn expression, to really get a lot of input, a lot of experience, you can do, for example, like a 1 hour sculpt. I could do, like, I could spend 3 hours. Well, that's quite a lot, but maybe I could spend maybe 30 minutes every day to just do a quick sketch where I sculpt a character that is, has some sort of expression. And if I do that every day, it can very, very quickly, I guess, your experience can increase really, really quickly with not a lot of time commitment, which can be very, very valuable if you want to learn something new. It's always fresh, doing these is always fresh because you do them once a day, maybe, or even just once every 2 days, like for 30 minutes, so it always feels fresh, but you can still, get a lot of experience, and you can increase your experience, well, you can increase your knowledge pretty quickly, because what it forces you to do is it forces you to focus on what is important, and what is important, is that's what you want to learn. You don't want to get bogged down by any fluff, or you don't want to see like, oh, I want to kind of work on the nose a little bit longer. You see the clock and see, oh no, I can't work anymore on it. I need to go further to the next piece. And then with every piece you do, you learn what you did or what you want to improve in the next one, and then you get better and better and better, basically. I'm always of the opinion to do more sculpts rather than improve the ones that you have, because it, or at least for me, it works better to look at my sculpts and say what I did better or what I want to do better next time, rather than what I want to change in my current sculpt. So I would rather say, oh, I did the eyes for my body sculpt, for example, wrong. I wouldn't go back into the model and change it. I would rather go into the next model and keep that in mind, and work on the new one rather than changing the old one, basically. Okay. Arcane's intro uses cinematic shots of 3D models. They look made out of clay. Yeah. They look pretty cool. Yeah, maybe the the madcap looks a little bit like their renders, although, you know, not as realistic. Why does not even use the timer? Well, you know, at some point I actually immediately stopped when it hit 30, but at some point I decided that's a little bit too strict. You know, with just, you know, 1 or 2 more minutes, you can make it look way better. So I kind of, it's still a good gauge at how long I worked on it, you know, how long it's been. Overtime, yeah. I have been invited, well, probably because I attended or contributed to the last one, to the new MSI Creator Awards. Basically a competition made by a MSI for 2D and 3D artists to submit their pieces, or, you know, it's like a competition where they have a certain topic and you're supposed to create a piece for it, either in 3D, 3D animation, 2D, or 2D animation. So if anybody wants to, you know, participate, just Google MSI Creator Award 2022, and then you should find it. What is MSI? It's a vacuum cleaner company. You might not have heard of them before. Okay. Is there a shortcut for appending? Wait, let me see if there actually is one. Append... Oh. Blender append shortcut. Shift F1. Ah. Well, hold on. Shift F1. Oh, wait, what? Oh. Okay. Wait. So I can actually do it in here. That's interesting. Can I open this? Oh. Wait. But how do... What? Well, that doesn't help me. I want to append something. I don't want to just look at it. Well, hold on. Yeah, I know. It's not a vacuum company. It's a hardware, PC hardware company. And software probably too. So hold on. Blender. Append shortcut. Blender's full of secrets. Yeah, always. You can never find all of them. There are always Easter eggs. Blender hotkey in-depth reference. Ooh. Wow, what is that? Oh my. Wait, hold on. Edit mode, edit mode. Do we have sculpt mode in here? Please. No, there's no edit mode. Damn. E key, extrude curve. C key, okay. M key, mirror. Wait, what? Edit mode, M keys, mirror. Opens a pop-up asking for the access to mirror. Wait. Hold on. So if I grab this, put it over here, rotate it, and then I delete these. Well, this one. And if I press M now, merge, that's merge, hold on. M key. Well, that doesn't work. Alt M merges selected vertices. Alt M is split. Okay, something. Okay, then it seems to be an old file. Okay. Well, that doesn't work anymore. Okay. Append. There it is. Oh, look at that. Perfect. And then one more, which is right here. As if the sun is just rising. Although I don't want to use orange. Orange is boring. I've used orange, I think, yesterday. Yeah, I used orange yesterday. Did we use green recently? I think we did. Did we? Yeah, we used it 3 days ago. What have I not used in a while? Yellow. Ooh. Well, yellow is basically orange. Red. Red looks too aggressive. Oh, I have an idea. Hold on. What about a good old teal? There you go. That looks cool. Maybe even smaller. Concentrate light. Look at that. Beautiful. Okay. I kind of want to have a rim light. Let's see if we can add that here. But this one needs to be 5,000. There you go. Okay. Okay, almost there, almost there. Oh, we need quickscoped. There you go. And enable depth of field. 0.4. Perfect. I don't know why I always put the Discord event or the personal feedback session to 2015, but it's never enough. It's always later. Maybe I should put it to 2030. I'm always hopeful, but it's never enough. Never enough time. Okay. I have too much hope. Perfect. Okay. There it is. So this one, I think, quick fun fact. I think this one's the first personal feedback session where 353 where Zaro hasn't posted a piece. He's slacking. He's falling behind. I think it's the first one. I think he posted since the first personal feedback session. He posted at least one every time, and all of a sudden he just stopped. Unbelievable. Do you know any kind of good tutorial on how to make 3D environments like anime, hand-painted kind of look? I think, what is he called again? Pounisher or whatever. I don't know how to say his name. I I think he made a tutorial about Ghibli environment or Ghibli trees. Hold on. Punisher Ghibli. Create Studio Ghibli art in Cinema 4D and Blender. Create Studio Ghibli art in Cinema. Yeah. That might be an interesting one. Maybe 3D modeling a detailed Studio Ghibli tag. Yeah, maybe that's good. I think another one you could check out would be oh, hold on, let me show you what they look like. Here. So this one might be good. Another one would be Stylized Station, I think. Ghibli. Here you go. Anime style textures in 3D. And how I create anime style textures in 3D. And then another one, creating Ghibli style textures in Substance Painter. Art hand painted wood. Or creating Ghibli style environment in Blender, full tutorial. Or Ghibli style art is easier than you think, you know? All of these might be good. I haven't watched any of them, so I can't really give you a, a recommendation. What are you doing in the stream today? Welcome back, Kenji. Hope you had a great Thursday. Today we're gonna do the bi-weekly feedback session. So people have submitted pieces in the Discord, !Discord to join, or you can also find it in the description. Yeah, pieces. People have submitted their pieces in the Discord. What we're gonna do today is we're gonna go over them and we're gonna give feedback on them. Once we're done with this quick sketch, which would mean in roughly 5 minutes. So if you wanna, be part of the next one, which would be in 2 weeks, then, join the Discord and post your piece in there. Oh, of course. We have quite a few characters. We have, I think all of them today are about sculpting and anatomy. So if that's something that, interests you, maybe you can learn from others too. Then yeah, maybe that's something that might interest you. I like the rainbow effect here on the side. That looks really cool. Oh, there you go. Oh, that's not what I wanted. There you go. Look at this. That's really cool. Oh, vibrance. I actually don't want to use noise in this one too. I didn't use it in the last one, and I kind of want to stay away from it this time. It adds a cool effect to it, but it also makes it a little bit polluted, you could say. It makes it look kind of old or dated. I want to make these look kind of clean or cleaner, so I don't want to include the grain. So what color should we use as a second color? Maybe white could actually look pretty cool. Maybe like a bluish white. That could be cool. Very, very light blue. That could be really cool. Of course, the green can be nice and dark green right here. And then we have the mid-tones, which could be nice and blue. Although that goes too deep into the same color. What about if we go to a nice dark blue? Look at that. Oh my god. There you go. We can maybe make it darker. Brighter. Doesn't really change too much. This looks pretty cool. Makes it look more metallic. I like that. Then we need a vignette. Perfect. Bring out the French. Perfect. I actually don't like vignette here. It kind of darkens most of the area, and it makes it look kind of too dark. So I'm gonna get rid of it. Actually, there you go. I want to keep my rainbow on the side. That's better. So, I guess relating it back, we talked about it while back. Quick sketches. You said that it's hard to do full body sketches. I think what I did at some point, or what you could do to improve very quickly in your full body sculpt, is you could choose one limb or one piece of the body, like for example the chest or the arm, maybe even just the upper arm, maybe the forearm, something like that. Grab some good references so you can see, you know, you can see the arm or whatever you want to sculpt from all angles, and then you can just do, you know, you could say, well, I'm gonna sculpt this upper arm. Maybe you could say I'm gonna sculpt this upper arm once in full detail, and then I'm gonna go and do, I don't know, 5 quick sketches, you know, like 30-minute or 50-minute sculpts, just to kind of get the repetition in, get yourself used to sculpting it, basically. That's one way you could use quick sketch, for example, to really, really quickly learn and improve your skills, basically. That's what you do for drawing, for example. That's what I did for drawing a lot. There's a website that is called, it's called Quick Poses. Quick Poses. And what you can do here is you can say, you can first of all access the website, maybe at some point. Please. Sometimes it helps to just open it in a new tab, or it just doesn't work at all. Maybe my internet just died. I don't think so though. Okay, doesn't work at all. Interesting. Let's just let that work, I guess. Oh, there it is. So what you can do here is you can set your interval. You could change it to 60 seconds. You could change it to 300 seconds, for example, or more, or custom, I guess. What I usually did, I think, is 60 seconds. I can't show you any images, but what this basically does is it gives you, I think, just randomly from their galleries, randomly selected people in different poses, you know, reference images in different poses, so that you can draw them. Yeah, you can trace them, or not trace them, but like redraw them, basically. So you get an image, you could say, okay, start, and then you can you get some sort of image that looks like this, you know, and then you have to draw it in that time. So you have to kind of see how much time you can spend on the fingers, for example, and all that. And then after 60 seconds, you get the next one, and then you get the next one, you get the next one, however much you want to do. That's a good way to improve your figure sculpting, your body sculpting, and drawing poses, because you do so many after another. You can only really focus on the basics, the basic shapes. It trains you in I guess observing, and trains you in seeing the big shapes and how they work together and how they're sort of placed in 3D space. So yeah, you can't really necessarily do that in 3D because, well, 60 seconds doesn't really work to sculpt a body, but you could do, you know, longer intervals maybe, you know. Okay. There he is. Okay, we're gonna begin with the personal feedback session. In 3 minutes, I'm gonna upload this image to social media. While I'm doing that, you're gonna see a good old compilation, the good old 2 compilations, which will roughly take 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and then we're gonna begin with the feedback session. The first person that submitted was there it is. The first person that submitted was Memes Are Heaven. So you were the fastest. So we're gonna look at yours first. Yeah, we're gonna do that after the 3-minute compilation, and then yeah, hope you enjoyed the compilation. I will see you in 3 minutes. Here we are back again. 3 minutes are already over. Oh no, how time flies. Okay. We're ready to do what has to be done. Well, what we were wanting to, okay? It doesn't just have to be done, it's what we want to do, okay? I don't do this because I have to. Okay. Yeah. So let's go into the personal feedback session. There have been how many pieces? Let me see. I've already downloaded all of them because I'm that good, okay? Let's see. Oh, hello. We have personal feedback session 16, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 submitted pieces. And which means how much time do we have? We have roughly is probably the same than last time. So roughly 2 hours. Which would mean, what is it? There it is. 120. Wait. Yeah. Divided by, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 15 minutes each. Nice. I don't have to explain this probably because we only have one submission per person. But usually, you know, if we have multiple, then of course I have to split those 50 minutes for all the pieces. So if you have 3 pieces submitted and we have 50 minutes for each person, then of course 5 minutes for each piece. Or how I see fit, I guess, to allocate the time. What do I need? What do I need? What do I need? I need my timer. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed your Thursday. Hope you enjoyed your time. Have you been active in the 3D world? Maybe doing some more Minecraft animations? Maybe you've moved on? I don't know. Maybe you've ventured into new challenges, into new horizons. Okay, so yeah. We're gonna begin with Memes or Heaven. He posted the first one. Here it is. Memes or Heaven with this body. I'm not sure how I can improve the torso, so can anyone help me out? Also, any advice on the skull with C or the sculpt in general is appreciated. Okay. Yeah. Okay, let's do that. Let's go into Photoshop probably. We can do some changes there. Let's go in here. Where are you? There it is. Okay, we're gonna begin with this one. We can probably look at both. I did absolutely nothing on Blender since the time I asked your help. Okay, well, you know, at least you have been doing well anyway, you know, if that's possible without Blender. Couldn't imagine. That's not a mistake. It's skull with C. Okay. Well, that is what. Yeah. You know, maybe I've never heard of this skull with C, but you know, I'll take it. Okay. Hold on, somebody just subscribed. Who was it? Let me look at it. It is Juan Viara, let's say. I would take that as a Spanish or somewhat in that direction name, so I'll say it like that. Okay. Thank you for subscribing. If you're here, hope you enjoy the stream. Hope you had a great day. Okay, there you go. So that's the his sculpt. So that's what we want to look at. Let's begin. I really enjoy your creation on Twitter. The figurine that we work on, the figurine doing the kick, or just in general what I post. Okay, let's begin. Hold on. Okay, there you go. Let's begin. So, yeah. So the question is, or the question that you said, hey guys, Guis. I'm not sure how I can improve the torso, so can anyone help me out? Also, any advice on the skull or the scope in general is appreciated. Then JK posted a few images to help you out. Let's go through these. As for the chest, it's too big. The chest is too big. You have chest muscles where shoulder muscles should start. I used this reference for making the body, just adding picture blender. So this one is a 3D reference and this one's a 2D reference. Let's look at this one first. I think this one's pretty good as a reference. I want to actually pull up another one. If you said you wanted to learn more about the reference. I mean, no, what? You want to learn more about the body, how to sculpt the body anatomy. I can give you a quick tip, which is to go to Pinterest and look up this guy here. This guy makes great Pinterest boards. So if you're ever looking for a huge selection or collection of pins of anatomy references, you'll find it right here. Here's a board called Anatomy Reference. If you go in here, you'll find everything to the body, to the individual parts of the body, the lips, the face, smaller parts like individual, muscles and where they're attached to the bones. It will expand more and more and more, more time goes by, I guess. You can even see some muscles in action and how they would move and stuff like that. So if you're looking for a reference, a good source of references for your practice, for example, for human anatomy, that might be something you want to check out, And the one that I wanted to look at is this one here. This one is the one that I like to use right now for references when it comes to the human body. And it's an écorché. There you go. That basically shows not only the first layer of muscles, but also the second one, if you want to look into that too. The post every day, yeah. Well, they're going to stop soon. They're going to stop at the end of this month. So, I'll try to provide more content afterwards, but, maybe I'll try to provide other content, okay? I actually added a lot to this model afterwards. Well, you haven't submitted it, so I'm going to give you feedback on what you submitted. Welcome, Brazilian Dutchie, or Dutchie. Hope you enjoyed your Thursday too. Welcome. Some are really incredible. Thank you. Yeah. So what you can see here is we can see not only the first layer of muscles, but sometimes you have multiple layers, which you can see on the right side. For example, we see multiple angles too. What I want to look at is the front view. Oh, that's not the front view. Where's the front view? I need it. There it is. The 365 will be the last. Yes, that will be the last one. At least I won't do them daily anymore. Well, maybe do them, from time to time, but I won't do them every day. Yeah, basically. So let's look at this one and compare it to what you've made and kind of point out a few things that you could maybe improve. There you go. And then we have this one. So, perfect. So, of course, we don't really need to look at the arms and the legs, maybe. We're going to still sort of look at it because they are still part of the body and everything in the body is sort of connected. If you only, for example, sculpt the torso, you still have to take into account how attaching the arms to the body would, I guess, reshape the body. Okay, needs front view and vodka. No, I only need front view. So yeah, let's begin with what you could consider adjusting. The first thing that kind of jumps out to me is the structure up here. Not only the well, let's begin with something that can change basically your whole body. That can basically change the whole body sculpt for you is the head. If you build your body, how I did it for the Chun-Li base mesh, where you basically use the head to kind of measure all the other widths. For example, you can say 7 to 7.5 heads would be the head of the body, including the head, and then 2-3 heads next to each other equal the the shoulder width. If you do that, you have to make sure that the, so if you do that, you have to make sure that the head is has the right proportions. I think something that you can see here is that the head right now is quite thin, which makes it so that the torso and the body itself gets quite long, and the shoulders, for example, become very, very narrow. I guess a good way to sort of fix that would be to look at to kind of, I guess, practice more head anatomy, I guess, to get the proportions right. I don't really have exact or really great like rules for that or guidelines. But generally what you can say is that the geometry sort of on eyebrow level is the widest part of the head. As you can see here, it basically always has this sort of shape where you have a not necessarily hard shape, but you can say hard shape in the sense that it gets thinner to the end and then it gets wider to the top. And the widest part is here, right where the eyebrows are, basically. Could change from person to person, but that's a good reference when you want to build your head, for example. You did the whole Chun-Li. We're still working on it. We basically almost finished the body, and then we're gonna go to the face and then the clothing. So yeah, that's one thing. The head sort of, I think, is a little bit too long, maybe a little bit too thin. So what you could do is you could just make it a little bit wider. Hold on. Oh, there you go. That's too big. I hate this. Make it just a little bit wider here. Give it some more room. The cheekbones usually aren't the widest part of above the eyebrows. It is. There you go. So this one's probably a little bit better. Might be a little bit long too. So you can pull it down a little bit too. No, I'm gonna keep it up there. Okay. Another thing is that if you look at the neck muscles sort of, you can see here, you can see this very clear sort of upwards motion to the neck or to the head. But the thing is that it doesn't have such a clean transition, because these muscles here, they don't merge with each other. They actually never really touch. If you look at a side view of the neck muscles, like this one here, for example, what you can see is that this muscle here goes, well, it goes to behind the ear, basically. We need to look at the other side. And if you look at the other one, you can see, I like this one. What you can see here is that this one goes to the ear, and then the other one goes from the shoulder here, or from the clavicle behind. Basically, it goes from here behind to the back and then upwards. So it sort of wraps around the back of the head. It never really touches this muscle here. So there's never really a clean sort of V shape that goes to the head, but it's more like, if you look from the front, it starts off very, I guess, you know, it goes upwards, but then it makes a sharp there's a sharp cut in the neck. You can see that very well in some of the head scans on 3D Scan Store. What you can see here is a very good profile for the neck. I think for her, you can see it very well. See how you can see, here's the neck. And if you kind of look at where the muscles would be, the muscles would come from the shoulder here somewhere, go behind the neck, and then they would go up, which creates this diagonal line here, but then it quickly transitions to a very vertical line, because this muscle comes from the top and sort of takes over the volume that you can see from the front, which then transitions here to this straight part of the neck. So you can make maybe this a little bit. There you go. Can I go in here, please? There you go. What you could do is you could just kind of you can pull down the muscles a little bit here, so it looks something more like this. There you go. Okay, I'll see you. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. So something more like this. So it's, you know, they never really connect, so you don't have this very straight and very smooth transition in the neck. Okay. Another thing is that the muscles that go from the ear, which you have drawn here, they're very broad right now, or they have this sort of transition here to the side, the sort of curve that you can see here. The curve sort of exists, but it's not really as defined as it is here. Basically, these muscles go very close into the middle and create this nice V shape underneath the chin. They meet where the clavicle has this little triangle here, or this little dip in the middle. That's basically where they meet. If you look at the reference that we see here, you can see here's this little dip, and that's where they meet in the middle, basically. So you can see, I think what you've added here, this little curve, is what you can see here, this little muscle on the side. So that little muscle doesn't really add too much volume to the neck itself. So I think the most important muscles that you need to focus on when it comes to the neck are this one here, and then this one here in the back. Well, on the other side, hold on. This one here. This one's very important for the shape, and then this one. They're the ones you can use to sort of merge those two, but they don't create additional volume. They only really merge between those two. Yeah, they connect the two muscles basically when it comes to the volume. Okay. Another thing is, I think the chest is a little bit, if you look at the attachments, it's a little bit different. So what you probably need to do to make this look a little bit more coherent is you need to add the shoulders here. The problem is, if you don't have shoulders, it is hard to place. Basically, every time you sculpt a body, if you leave any part of the body out of the equation, or any peripheral, if you want to focus on any part of the body, one thing that you should always keep in mind is that you include at least part of the peripheral limbs that are included in that. So if you want to sculpt, for example, if you want to train your upper body sculpts, you need to at least a little bit include the shoulders too. They might be part of the arms, you could consider them part of the arms, but they're very important, so you can practice where to place the pectoralis muscle, or the chest muscle, because the chest muscle needs to connect to the upper arm muscle, or to the upper arm bone, and without it you can't really place it anywhere. You could maybe pull it apart or to the side a little bit, but without it it's really hard to place them in the right position. Always looking at how I always kind of imagine where to place the muscles is, I kind of think about the attachment, and that's how I sort of place my muscles. And if you don't have anything to attach it to, it's really hard to get them right. So I would suggest always adding at least the peripheral limbs into your body sculpts, so that you can place all the muscles, you know, in the right position, basically. A few more things. We only have a few minutes left. A few more things. You can see here, I think the abs are quite thin right now. They can be a little bit thicker, I guess. You can see it here. They might be a little bit thinner here, but I think you can see here, I think what kind of trips me up right now is that the profile sort of looks like it goes into the middle and then stays there. If you look at him, it's more like an outwards movement, like this, and then it goes into the middle. It's more like this, rather than, I guess, this. So yeah, I think that's one thing you could change too. And then overall, you know, just kind of practicing, and yeah, you know, just practice basically. Another thing you could consider is looking at the back. We didn't look at the side view, but I think it sort of one thing you can really, I guess, you can really improve, or one thing that makes the body sculpt way better, if you include the peripheral parts of the body, is that you can do something, you can add more depth. Here, for example, you can include the armpit here, which you can't really do without adding them. Without them, it just looks kind of weird, you know, it just kind of looks like some sort of cylinder. So you really, yeah, I think peripherals also always kind of need to be added into the sculpt to kind of make it look coherent and kind of like a, you know, like a body, because otherwise a lot of muscles wouldn't have the connection that they need to look like the muscle that they're supposed to be, basically. Yeah. Fortunately, that was already time. But yeah, you know, you could maybe, you have 2 more weeks to practice, so you can probably do way better. And then this in 2 weeks. So yeah, hopefully this helps, and I'm excited to see a new one. If you want to post another one, let's go to the next one. So the next post is by Lon Jenin. He posted a nose. I don't know if we need 50 minutes for it, but I can probably do that. Let's open his. I don't think there's anything really valuable here. I guess you could say, yeah, no, we don't need this. Okay, I'm gonna save it anyway because I will regret it if I don't. Memes are heaven. Okay. Let's go to the notes by Lon Jenin. So he posted different angles, of course. I want to look at the front view first, and then we're going to look at the bottom view. Let's look at the front view first. Okay, I think that's a very good nose. I like the structure. I think the structure is very well set up. Let's look at a nose. Do I actually have nose anatomy in here? Let's see. I don't know. Can you actually look through? You can, right? Nose. If you look through this, you should only see... Oh, there it is. Result from your pins. Nice. So here we have a nose reference. And what you basically see here is you have the sort of nose tip that you can see here, these sort of wings that go to the side. They start from basically below here. And I don't know if you could see that, basically from the middle of the nose here, between the nose holes. And it goes up to the side and then it basically fills the space in between the nostril and the nose bridge, basically. So if you would draw that in here, you would see the structure looks really good. We have the nose bridge, first of all, right here, which at some point transitions to the bone part. And then we have the soft tissue part here in the front, which is why you can move your nose. And if you kind of go higher and higher and higher, at some point you will encounter the hard part of the nose, basically. We can see here we have the middle part, we have the nose holes, of course, and then we can see we have these two pieces here, basically. One going in this direction and one going in this direction. So I think the structure looks really good. The nose looks really good. I like it. From the front view, I think it looks really good. We of course have the transition then to the rest of the body or the rest of the face. You could maybe say that you oftentimes have a small line here going downwards, which basically indicates the fat that is attached to the side of the nose, basically, and runs down to the to right here. It basically goes from here downwards to here. Let's see if we can find that here. Fat. This one. That's what I mean. This fat pad right here. This fat pad is basically the fat pad that creates this little crease that you can oftentimes see in people. It kind of runs from the side of the nose downwards next to the nostril, which creates this very stark crease here. He kind of added a little bit, and then it goes to the side and then next to the mouth corner, basically. Maybe you could consider smoothing the side a little bit and adding like a small little crease here, right here, so that it looks something like this, basically. That would be like small details, but I think the structure of the nose looks really good. I think that you can use that structure for your characters without having to worry. There's one thing though that is I actually learned last year, I think. So like 1 or 2 years after learning how to sculpt, or basically, is the nose from the bottom. I think the shape is good. So for the nose shape, you oftentimes have like a heart shape that looks something like this, basically. So that's good. But there's one thing that I think you can consider changing. So let's look. Do I actually have? Okay, let's see. I have so many. I don't actually know what I have in here. What I want to look up is the nose from the bottom. Do we have a reference for that? Nose anatomy. Bottom. Do we have one? We don't. But oh, there it is. That's not from my though. So what you can see here is the nose holes are basically two ovals that are pointing to each other. They're sort of tilted into the middle, which looks something, or you could say like kidneys, I guess. Although kidneys point outwards, I guess. I don't actually know. But they look something like this, basically. Like this. If you would draw a heart shape, which would be for the nose, which looks something like this, the nose holes would basically fill this area here, the round part. So if you would draw a circle in here, it would look something like this. If you do the same on the other side, it would look something like this. What you notice here is there's this little dip here in the middle. And I think that's sort of what's missing right here, right now. The nose hole, first of all, looks sort of more like drops. So more like this right now, rather than this. So there's a little bit more volume here that you can probably kind of move over here a little bit. Or beans, I guess you could say, yeah. So I think the shape, you could change it a little bit to something, to something more like this. And the way you can change it is you can move the bridge here, which is quite thin, all the way to the middle. You can move that bridge a little bit wider. Basically, the bridge gets wider the closer it gets to the face. I'm going to show you what that would look like. Oh wow, I didn't start the timer. I'm always so bad at that. So what it would look like is you would move these just a little bit, make them broader so they look more like a V shape. So you can make these nose holes look like ovals that point to each other. More like this. Let's look at some references so we can see that in action, basically. What you can also consider is making the edge that you can see there, the edge right here, the edges look a little bit sharper than they maybe should be. I think the nose overall is quite round or quite smooth. It's a little bit harder to get that right because oftentimes when you sculpt something and it has a very, very thin wall, you could say, it's hard to get it nice and smooth without changing the volume too much. But that could be something that you consider. Maybe even making the nostril wall here a little bit wider. But let's look at the references. I wanted to look at... We could maybe even go into my faces collection. Here you go. Maybe let's see if we can find some good references here. So one thing you'll notice is that you can oftentimes, if you draw the nose, if you kind of trace the nose, one thing you can notice is that you can oftentimes sort of connect the middle connection to the face of the nose, right here. You can oftentimes connect it to the nostril here, like this. And that is basically because of the V shape where the nose bridge connects to the face. For her, you can very, very clearly see the V shape. If you look at her, it's kind of, I guess, low res, but you can see how it gets wider. You can see here it's very thin. You can see the nose hole is they're very close to each other. But then they get wider here. You can see it with this little reflection here. It's kind of hard to see, but there you go. We can maybe look at some actual nose anatomy images to see it a little bit better. I think this one is the best one to see it. If you look at this, it's kind of low res. Why are all the anatomy references always so low res? I think I found one here. Hold on. Come on. Okay, I can't find it. Well, we're gonna look at the first one. Here you can see, you can actually maybe draw the shape, the heart shape. You can very clearly see the heart. Here's one part, but then here's the other part. So one thing to keep in mind when you sculpt noses is always to basically fan the bridge out at the bottom so that it's very thin here, and then it gets wider as it approaches the face, basically, which then immediately makes these ovals, or the nose holes, like these ovals that point to each other, basically like this. And then you solve two problems at once, basically. Yeah, just kind of making it wider can probably help already. Let's look at the first one here. Or let's look at the... Do we have a 3/4 view? We don't, but we have a side view. What you can see here is another, I guess, reason why it looks a little bit off, or why you might not have added this V shape, is because you basically used a plane. You used a plane to sculpt onto, which makes it harder to envision how the nose would kind of lie on top of the skull. If we looked at the reference that I just saw, oh, here's another one that looks really good. Here you can see the heart shape really clearly. Can we see the one that I just saw? We can't. Okay, well. Oh, another fun fact. Tomorrow I will actually release the second follow-along sculpting tutorial about the nose. So if you want to check that out, feel free. But what we can look at is the, let's look at the face side view. And what you will notice is that the middle part of the nose is connecting to the face further forward than the nostril. See how the nostril is basically, if you look from the side view, the nose bridge in the middle is part of the silhouette, but the nostril isn't. The nostril is basically in the face itself. Same for her. The nostril, the middle part, connects to the lips right here. The nostril is in the face itself, in the silhouette basically. And that's basically for every person. There's like a small bump for the lips because the lips are round, which creates the sort of V shape for the nose itself. The V shape, with the V shape, what I mean is, if you, for example, draw a lips from, this is now lips looking at it from the bottom, okay? This is the upper lip and this is the lower lip. I can't really draw it. Okay, there you go. Okay, those are the lips. What you would then have is you would have the nose, you know, you would see the nose behind the lips, but because the lips need to wrap around the teeth, which are basically in a cylinder form, which would lie somewhere over here. They lie on top of the teeth. That's what creates the sort of cylinder shape where not only the lips wrap around, but also the nose. Welcome, Rink or R1NK00. Hope you enjoyed your Wednesday. Your Thursday. Hope you enjoyed your Wednesday too, though. And then what you would see is you would see the nose basically behind the lips, which would be something like, maybe like this. And what you immediately see is that the middle part is further forward than the nostril because of this cylinder shape. And it would look something like this. Wait, that's kind of like this, which inherently creates this V shape at the bottom because of the natural curve that the mouth creates, basically. So if you would adjust, for example, this part here, or the side view, what we would probably do is we would just go in here and we would basically pull this part here a little bit further forward. Well, that's quite big. So something more, well, that's kind of getting, okay. Something more like this maybe. So that the nostril is part of the, or inside of the silhouette, and the middle part of the bridge creates the silhouette itself. There you go. Something like that. Yeah. I think those are the few changes that I sort of saw here that you could consider adjusting. That's why I don't like using a cube or a plane to sculpt or to practice sculpting, or I don't suggest it. I don't suggest sculpting on a plane. I would rather suggest using a cylinder for the nose and lips. Okay, let's go to the next one. Let me save all these and then we can go there. Lawn Jinan 3, please. Okay. Next one is, I actually don't know who the next one is. Oh, not DCM. What is DCM? Thank you for the follow, Rink. I'll call you that if that's okay. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Hope you still enjoy your Thursday and hope you enjoy the stream. Let's go into the next one. The next one is made by Dark Touch. He's been touching a lot of darkness, as you can see here. So let's look into his character. He posted one more, which is the scope view. Yeah. So I think the most valuable ones are, well, we have like these three. We could talk about the lighting. What did he say? He said nothing. Yeah, another head practice and some fun with lights. Yeah, if you don't particularly say what you want to get feedback on, then I'm gonna go to the anatomy. Okay. So if you just if you want to post your pieces in the feedback session, if you want to get specific feedback on something, then it's best to write it in your post so I know exactly what you want feedback on. So if you want to get feedback on your lighting specifically, then I'm gonna I can give you feedback on it. But I think for this one it's more valuable to focus on the face itself, the anatomy. Let's look at this view. Okay, I think this view is basically the only one we really need, because these ones are quite similar in terms of the perspective, and in this one you can see the structure a little bit better. Let's look at this one. Okay. Love your tips, man. Very helpful and enjoyable to learn new things from you. Keep it up. Thank you. I appreciate it. Angrish. Sounds kind of like anguish and angry. Well, yeah, basically. Maybe that was your intention. Welcome, first of all. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Let's go into this one. So I think what I sort of noticed with your scopes over the past feedback sessions where you posted a few is you've definitely improved your lips in terms of giving them depth. I think the next follow along sculpting session for lips will come out next week, probably on Monday. So if you're interested in that, you can check that out. But what I wanted to say is that you definitely improved the depth of your lips. I think what is sort of missing is the roundness of the lips. We basically spoke about that just with Longinen, basically. How the lips have a sort of cylindrical or round shape, but I think it's a little bit too it's too weak, I guess you could say, or too flat. You can probably move the lips a little bit further forward. Another thing that I noticed, or that I think I can see here, this angle is kind of hard to work with. My favorite angles, if you want to post them, if you want to, be my favorite poster in the personal feedback session of the bi-week, okay, would be a front view and a side view. That's sort of the best shots that you can post if you want to make me happy, okay? Or you can also post your blend files, then you don't really need to post anything else. Okay. I think what I notice here is, I actually want to use this, is the mouth corner. Let's go in here and make a new go. Hey, I am the favorite. No, you're slowly becoming the villain. What is the you have the hero? What is the other one? It's not the, isn't there another word for villain that sounds cooler? I can't remember. So I think what I see here is that the corner of the mouth is further forward, looking from the side, or kind of imagining looking at it from the side. I think the corner of the mouth is further forward than the nostril. No, that's the... Oh, the antagonist. We have the protagonist and we have the antagonist. So if you, you're the antagonist of the stream. Okay, so, if you look at some faces here, we need to... These. What you can see here is that basically all of them, almost all of them, we were talking about the averages. The corner of the mouth is either... I actually posted it in here. Let me scroll up a little bit. The corner of the mouth has a certain area where it can be placed, basically, which basically almost automatically creates a very deep, or a good mouth structure, at least when it comes to the roundness. If only I could find it. I think it wasn't on topic, actually. Was it in here? Here it is. Somewhere. There it is. This is the area, the green one is the area where you can place the corner of the mouth. Either basically on the height, horizontal height in the side view of the nostril, or basically the end would be somewhere where the eyelid would begin, basically. In this green area, you can place the corner of the mouth. I don't mean you can move it up here. What I mean is, looking at it horizontally, you can move it further into the green area, basically. It looks like the corner right now is further forward than the nostril, if you kind of follow the 3D view here. We kind of, you know, try to move around the sculpt in my brain. I think that's what I see. It could be wrong. One that he posted before was this one. Well, this one, I think this one was really good from the front, or from this 3/4 view. I think the planes of the face look really good. I think you have sort of nailed the fat, for example. But when you go to the side, you can see it looks very flat. One reason for that would be, for example, here, the lips. I think the lips sort of take most of the volume away. We have the same issue here that we had with Lon Denon, where the nostril basically is part of the silhouette, which it shouldn't. And then you can see this one, well, the corner of the mouth fits basically, but the middle of the mouth here is too far back. So one rule is correct, but the other one isn't, or I guess, I don't know what you want to call it. The guideline is correct, but the other one maybe isn't as much. If you look at this one, I think it's a little bit further forward. So let me see if I can sort of in 2D move this back in 3D, basically. It would probably be sorry, just a little bit further back, like that. And then we need to do the same on the other side. This one's really hard to change, but I'll try something more like this. Okay, just a little bit, to move the corner back a little bit, which basically helps with the depth. You can maybe even move. I think what you've done right here is that the nostril is not part of the silhouette. I think this part here is further forward. But you could maybe even consider moving the middle part of the lips. Well, that's quite big. Just a little bit further forward. It's really hard to do it in 3D. So I won't try. But even just doing that, you can see how it changes the depth in the face. It's not too much, but it's just a little bit, you know? Another thing that we actually talked about yesterday is the eyelid. The eyelid is one muscle, which means that I thought the same when I was younger. What? When I had less experience, I guess, 1 or 2 years ago. That basically the upper eyelid is one muscle and then the lower eyelid is one muscle. But they're actually, or parts, whatever you want to call them. But they're actually two. I mean, they're one, I mean. So they're one and the same muscle. If you look at the eye muscles, what I always thought about is that they're two, and then the upper eyelid covers, or sort of where they meet, that they sort of cover it covers the lower eyelid, so they kind of overlap with each other. We kind of looked at some references where it seems like it does it. But that's more personal or very, yeah, personal. For me, when I looked at my eyes in the mirror, I can't see the layering. So it's, you know, just depends on person to person. But if you look at the eyelid muscles, we can see here, it's basically this circle. The circle is basically there to, if it tenses up, I don't know if you can see that. You do this, you kind of look very angry into, you look very angry or very suspicious, you know. And then you have more muscles that basically attach to the eyelid, which pull the eyelid upwards, basically. And which means that you don't really have layering here. You basically have like a disc, or like a, whatever you want to call it, like a, what are these things called? These little, these floppers that you can turn inside out, that you put on the desk and then they flop like up. These things. That's what you could call them, I guess. You know, it's just like a salami, I guess, that you put on your eyes, basically, with like a slit in the middle, basically. There isn't really like a layering going on. What you can see here, maybe you could say, hey, there's some layering going on here. But this is the only reference, maybe with this one, where you could maybe say that there's layering. But I think that's more because of how deep the corner of the eye maybe is in these references, which makes it look like it is layering. Here's the eyelid muscle in more detail. So this one's the eyelid muscle, but where you can see it splits into two pieces and then connects on the other side again. And then you can see here's the muscle that pulls the eyelid up, and the other one is down here to pull it down. Well, you don't really... Can you pull your eyelids down? I think you can only pull them up. Yeah, if you blink, for example, the only eye that moves is the upper eyelid. You don't really have... I don't think you have a muscle for the lower eyelid. The only way you can move your lower eyelid is by moving the salami, okay? The salami of your eye. Because if you tense it up, you can move it up. Or if you smile, for example, you can move it up. But you can't really move it with any muscle, specifically. Eyelidness. Eyelash. What do you mean with eyelash? Oh, no. Okay. Apparently the stream just went to 0 kilobytes for a second. I thought everything crashed, but apparently it didn't. Good. Okay. Yeah, so that's one thing that that you could change. Basically just kind of smoothing this. I can't really do that in here. Well, yeah, but I can point it out, I guess. So just kind of, you know, making this unlayered, just kind of smoothing it so it looks like one piece, basically. I like the thickness of the eyelids. They have a good thickness to them. They're not too thin, they're not too thick. I think they look pretty good. Maybe they're a little bit too thick, but that's sort of hard to get right, so I don't really fault you for making them too thick. I think I make them too thick too. What about the eyelashes? You mean... Yeah, I don't remember what we talked about with the eyelashes. Another thing, just to kind of note here, is the ear. I think the ear looks quite smooth right now. I think the structure is quite shallow, let's say. You can really dig deep into here, into this C shape of the ear, basically. They're just right. What do you mean? I'm confused. Yeah, you can make the ears quite deep. There's gonna be a follow-along tutorial for the ears next week too. So if you want to learn about ears, you can do that too. I will also hopefully finish the first full character follow-along sculpting session or sculpting tutorial for next week. So if you want to do the whole face, you can follow me. You can follow along with me and do that. But yeah, you can give this a whole lot more depth. You can also increase the crease that is right here, where the ear at the top connects to the face. If you want to look at some references, let's look at ear. Air. Okay, that's a nice ear. First of all, see how deep it is. See how deep it goes. You can even see layering going on. You can see this going way, way above the skin behind it. And then if you look at it from the side, the eyelid thickness is right. Yeah. Can we see a front view, please? That's an interesting ear. Here you go. You can see how it sort of is very, very sharp there. There's not really like a very smooth transition to the back of, to the side of the head, to the temple. Another thing you can see is that this outer edge, you can say, right now it's quite thick. I think you can make it a little bit thinner, or you can dig a little bit deeper to create this nice layering. Some people have quite a, I guess, wide outer edge, but it's sort of supported by the layering, basically, the depth. Let's all visit Nogi and follow him, and he'll show us the way. You don't need to come to my houses to do that. Okay, yeah. I think that's another thing, sort of the depth in the ear. And then maybe one more thing is the neck here. I think it sort of ends very straight. You can probably pull this area just a little bit further forward so that it looks more like a sphere, basically. The chest, the rib cage is basically like a cylinder. This one looks more like a triangle right now. So moving this forward can probably help with that. Sorry to change your link, but for the sake of knowledge transmission, I have to do it. I'm sorry. There you go. Something more like this. Give it more room in the front. Okay, yeah. Those are a few things you can consider. Okay. That's dark touch. Let's go to the next one. So I said we'd use this one, but we actually don't. We didn't. Let's go to the next one. The next one is, by... Why do I still have Blender open? I guess I can keep it open. The next one is by Dustin Nadler, whatever. And he posted this sculpt. I think it looks really cool. I think it looks really, really good. This is a very, very nice, good looking sculpt. One thing that I want to notice is that you really, really very well you created a good depth and feeling of softness in the sculpt. Well, you know, sculpts usually aren't really soft, so you have to make them look soft, which has a whole lot of, I guess, requirements for it to work, let's say. Let me show you what I mean. Let me look at... Can we actually... Let's see. Softness in marble... Statues. Oh, well, hold on, give me a sec. I need to vet this. That's a good one. I don't know if that's TOS though. Let's just hope it isn't. It shouldn't. Oh, that's a good one. There you go, that's a good one. That's exactly what I thought about. Here you go. Here you can see marble, if you didn't know, is quite hard. So what you need to do as a sculptor is you need to convey that what you wanted to sculpt or what you try to represent is soft. And that has a whole lot of implications. Like, for example, if something's soft, you can change its shape by pushing against it. So for this one here, for example, you can see he's grabbing her thigh and he's pushing the volume of her thigh, let's say, into, like, you know, he's pushing it into the leg, I guess you could say, which creates these sort of deeper, like he creates these, he digs into the volume, I guess you could say. He changes the shape by pushing with his fingers into the thigh. And that's, I think, one thing you really, really nailed in this one. Basically the interaction between different parts of the sculpt. Let me open it in Blender so we can, I mean in Photoshop, so we can talk about it. There you go. I wonder how long it took to create those statues. Oh wow, I don't know. Let's see. I don't want to waste any time, sorry. You can look it up. You can tell us if you want. I would like to know. Okay, so I don't know if you used multiple... It looks like you've used multiple objects or you've just worked a lot on the creases. But what I mean with depth in the sculpt is basically the... If you look at bump maps, for example, what you can see is if something's black, it's the deepest part of the bump map. And if something's white, it is the highest part of the bump map. And if you then apply that as a displacement map, you can see the maximum range of depth for the map, basically. If you convert that to the sculpt, what you can oftentimes see, especially for example when somebody starts sculpting, they sort of avoid making creases very deep. They avoid basically any big changes to the sculpt. They keep everything very soft. With this one, it's very, very different. We can have these very, very, very sharp creases here for the arm, for example. We can see even here the folds in the belly, or here, see how deep it goes. We can see this full-on black here. It goes very, very deep into the sculpt. Even down here, we can see how much depth we have in here. And this really, really helps with the sort of sense of not only softness, but also depth. It creates this layering effect by... What basically fat does is it sort of sits on top of each other, and if it sort of... it creates very specific folds that sort of show the layering of the fat. So what you can see here is we have the leg right here, and then we have the belly lying on top of the leg, which means it creates a fold because the leg isn't connected to the belly, so it kind of creates this fold. If this is the leg, and then we have the belly right here, we have maybe this volume, which then flops over like this and lies on the leg, which means that all of this here, you know, to all the way to here, this space here, falls on top of each other and creates this fold in between these two objects, which creates a very deep crease all the way into the middle here. That's what I mean with depth and layering. That's what you can see here very well. Yeah. And another thing is that you really well sort of, I guess, you made the pieces of the sculpt interact with each other to make them look more realistic. So, for example, here he's resting his hands on his belly, which of course hands have weight, and because of the weight they push into the belly, which means the volume of the belly changes, just like the thigh that we've seen here. And it's changes the volume, it pushes into the belly, it interacts with each other and creates the different shape for the belly. And also, you know, you place the hands where the belly was before, kind of suggesting that these two pieces interact with each other. You could also make them clip into each other, but that wouldn't look as realistic, basically. Yeah, you have basically stuff like that all over the face, or all over the sculpt, basically. So overall, I think the execution is really good. I like it. I like the end result. I think there are a few things that you can do. There's one thing that you can try to improve the sculpt, and then there's a few things that you can try, or there's one thing that you can try to improve the overall look at the end when you render it. I think there's one thing that I think you could do to improve this sculpt even more. There's one thing that you can try to give it even more depth. I think the depth is already very good, but I think the surface looks quite shallow right now. I think that's the one thing that you could consider giving more detail. You could say, well, I didn't want to give it too much detail because it's supposed to look very soft. I think to make something look very soft, you can kind of play with the contrast between round volume and sharp corners. I think that's oftentimes what makes something look very soft. What I mean by that is basically here, for example, you can see, it's hard to see in here, But well, that's danger zone. Let's look at my pins in here. We go to the body references, we go to female. I don't know if we can see it here. Here you can see it. Well, that's quite small. But what I mean here is that basically there are these soft round parts here, and then there are these harsh corners that sort of disconnect different round volumes. So these round volumes would look very soft because they sort of clash in the middle and create this fold in the middle. I don't know if I can explain it very well, but what you could try basically to kind of give you like a tangible way to try what I wanted to say is you could try and go to Blender. Let me show you. We can maybe even do it with this one. So if you go in here and we use we go to sculpting. What you could try is you could try and use a you can use the crease brush. Oh, please, there you go. You could try and use the crease brush because it basically has the pinch brush included in it. So you use the crease brush. And what you can then try is you can switch the brush settings, the fall off from smooth, which creates something more like this, to sharp, which creates something more like this. So the middle gets sharper. If you then even make the brush strength a little bit lower, you can create these very, very sharp corners. You can maybe even increase the pinching in here. So if you set this to 0.5, which is the standard, it would look something more like this. I think you can use these sort of very sharp creases to just give, especially these bumps in here. Hello? Are you there? Mayday, mayday. There you go. You can probably give these little ridges here that you can see there just a little bit more volume or depth by basically using the crease brush and just go over these here, and maybe even add just a little bit more volume here to the round part to create this very round area or this round surface, and then these sharp corners here. That could help too. So if you go back in here, what you to show what I mean is what you could do is you could go, let's go to here, we can stay here. What you could consider is you could just grab your so what you have now is basically something like this. Okay, something like this, nice and smooth. Of course we can get that. There you go. I think what you can try is you can grab the crease brush, just kind of use it like this, just kind of increase the sharpness a little bit like this, and then you could maybe even go to the other one, go back in here, we can maybe even make it bigger like this. See how much more depth we can get into here. We can maybe do it on the other side here, make it nice and big, make the crease nice and sharp. There you go. And then we can use the brush again, whether you use the draw brush or the clay strips brush, to just add a little bit more volume, give it even more, you know, thickness, let's call it. Make it nice and thick. And then we would have something like this. There you go. I think that's one thing you could try, to just kind of give it this little push into the HD category, you know? Oftentimes if you have like a low resolution scope, for example, you can't really add these details, which makes the scope sort of blurry, because you can't really add the amount of detail that you need to make it look sharp. I think that's sort of the case here for the surface. It's not the case for the folds here, for example, for the individual parts working together, but it's maybe a little bit the case for the surface. I think the surface can benefit from just giving it this little push into the next level of detail or the next level of depth when it comes to the surface. Yeah. They know their way around creases already. Yeah. So yeah, that's one thing that that you could consider if you want to go through this. It would probably take quite a while, but it could probably bring this all the way up to, you know, making it look even better. And then there's one more thing that I wanted to talk about, which is the post-production. You don't need Photoshop for this. You can also do it in Blender. Let me open the thumbnail for today, because that's where I actually included this piece. So if you go to the nail of the thumb, we can see, here it is. Do you see the difference? Let me duplicate it and move it over there. Okay. There he is, Big Brother sitting next to him. Yep, thank you. Let's make it as big as the other one. Okay. So this is after, and this is before. See how much post-production can change the look of an image? Of course, I'm working with the camera raw filter where everything is neatly set up. So you only really need to change like the temperature, for example, the exposure and all that. So it's easy here to change these things, but you can definitely do that in Blender too. You can change, for example, the contrast with a curve modifier or with a curve node, or you can go and add more saturation just to kind of give the image more pep, let's call it, okay? More spice. Give it more energy and even more depth, you could say too. So if you look at this, see, if I now apply this actually here to this one, let's see what it looks like. So we can change the background too. Do that in there. See how much, look at that. That's after, that's before. See how much more depth we can include in the image, and how much more that actually accentuates the sculpt, because it highlights the contrast between the sculpt itself and the background. See how much more we can distinguish the sculpt from the background by just changing the contrast, for example. See, if we, for example, now go to 5. One good rule, or one good way to kind of see if your render is very readable, is to go something like 5% size, or maybe even less, like 3. Make it very, very small, and then distinguish, or kind of see before and after, and see if it visibly improves the visuals of the image or the render. See how much more visible, how much easier it is to see the sculpt in this version here, just because we've increased the darkness, or we darkened the background, or we brightened the foreground or the sculpt itself. Then of course we have something like saturation and values. I mean, yeah, saturation, for example, too. That can really, you know, spice up the image. I think that's one thing you can consider. You don't have to do this in Photoshop. If you don't have Photoshop, for example, you can probably even use GIMP. Although I don't know how much you can do in GIMP. What you can of course also do is you can just use Blender. I think Lego Robot uses Blender mainly for post-production. So if you have any questions about that, you know, if you have questions about post-production in Photoshop, you can probably ask him too. I haven't done that many post-productions in Photoshop yet. I mean in Blender. So yeah, so if you know, I can probably help you out too for the most part, but he's the better spokesperson for it. Yeah, those are sort of the two things that I yeah, that you could try, you know. There you go. Okay, let's go to the next one. Let me save this real quick. What was the name? Sorry. Dustin Naylor. There you go. Okay. They know their way. Oh, yeah. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Oh, another thing you could consider is depth of field. Depth of field, well, it's more artistic, you could say. So if you want to show off your sculpt, it might not be the best, but that's one thing you could try. I just like working with dynamic topology, to be honest. Just not used to it. I mean, you can also just increase the retopology. If you use retopology, you can also just, I guess, increase the retopology resolution. That works too. So, you know, yeah, it's just, you know, you can do that too. Okay. The next one is by Poop Butt Ass Piss, okay? I'm gonna call you PVAS if that's okay, because always saying that name just because of its length is kind of hard. He also included a few update images here. So these ones are the new versions. Let's look at those actually. Yeah. Let me sit down real quick and then we can continue. That's you. Sometimes you just encounter usernames where you think, how did that go through? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Let's go into Photoshop once again. There it is. So he posted a previous version and then a new version. This one's the old version. This one's the new version. I'm going to use this one just because, you know, it's the current state, I guess, or the newest state. And then we have the side view too. Let's begin with the front view and then we can go to the side view. There you go. Okay. So, okay. I think what makes the most sense here is to look at the planes of the face. If somebody's not familiar with the planes of the face, you can go to you can go to tutorials, for example, and there you should find it at some point. It is, first of all, this image works quite well for it, but that's not the one that I mean. There's another one, which should be here. There it is. Here you can see the planes of the head, basically simplifying the head into flat shapes, basically. So it's easier to understand the structure, what is sort of underneath what is sort of working together, what is in between other stuff, for example. That's what you can see here very, very clearly. And I think this one makes it clearer how the structure of the face looks. Sometimes with the with like a normal image, for example, the skin is very smooth, so it gets harder to see the structure as well as in here, for example. So yeah, that's the old one. This one's old. Oh yeah, oh true. Thank you. There it is. Okay. So one thing, I don't use orthographic view like as a secondary view, but I don't, you know, I don't think it's wrong. One thing I think is good because I use it usually from time to time, so it's good to use it. One thing that you can consider, I don't know what focal length you use, but a good focal length for characters, if you sculpt, well, basically anything in sculpting, especially if you want to sculpt characters though, is using a focal length of 85. Let me show you what a focal length does if it's too high. Focal length comparison. So this one's the same image from the same distance. Is it? Well, it's not. Hold on. This one's good. So this one's... Why are all these images so small? Okay, this one's better. Okay, this one fits better. Because it's also shot from the front. So what you can see here is the difference between the different focal lengths. The standard in Blender is 50, so this one. And the a good value for sculpting is, I guess, 70, 85 usually. So a mix between these two. If we kind of look at these and compare them, or we can, I guess, see the extreme versions of these distortions in the face through focal length, through comparing these two. Let's look at this image here and look at this one. That's the same one I have, but this one, this image. You can see here the face is very flat. You can see every part of the face. You can see the ears. You can see the jaw. You can see the head shape very well. It's basically orthographic, 200 millimeters. If you look at this view here, though, what you can see here is we can't really see the ears that much anymore. The head shape is very different. It's not as blocky anymore. It's not as clear anymore. The nose gets bigger. The eyes maybe get bigger too. The lips get bigger. Basically everything that is close to the lens gets bigger, and everything that is far away from the lens gets smaller, which creates this distortion effect, which can be very distracting or very hard to sort of ignore or over finesse when you sculpt with 50 millimeter focal length, for example. So a good one to use is 85. 85 is it's not too flat, but it's also not too distorted, I guess you could say. So that's a good one. You can see the difference between orthographic, so basically like 200 millimeters here, and then here, which is probably, I would say, 50. You can see the difference here. Yeah, let's go into the actual sculpt now. There you go. Okay. This one might actually be better to look at because we can see everything clearly. Let's look at this one. One thing, first of all, for maybe the shoulders are more secondary. You didn't really focus on them too much, but I want to notice it just so that you know. If you take the head width, and one thing we talked about before is that the width of the head is the widest right here in this height, basically on the eyebrow height. This part here is the widest part of the head, which it seems like it is, so that's good. If we take this width and we take it and we move it over here, there you go. It sort of equals the shoulder width. Oh, please. And if we do that on the other side too, of course, that's sort of the shoulder width. Shoulder width meaning, let's look at the anatomy reference real quick so we can reference it actually to anatomy, to the real anatomy, or at least an accuracy that looks pretty realistic. Could always be wrong, you know. Let's look at it. Here you go. You can see if you take his head, it's kind of hard to do here, but if you kind of gauge how wide his head is, if you would add this head to the side here again, it would be his head basically in terms of width. So here's where the bone, his clavicle bone basically ends, and then you would have some more volume here through the shoulders. So one thing you can do is you can make this maybe a little bit wider. The shoulders add some more width to the shoulders. I mean to the shoulders, I guess. So you can make this maybe a little bit wider. It might look kind of weird, but that's, I think, just because it looks very wide right now. Probably because there's no body kind of supporting its width. It looks just kind of like very spread out compared to the thin head in the middle. But I think once you add stuff like the body here, if you want to do that, it kind of supports this sort of width right here. I think it even looks quite wide here if you kind of look at it. So yeah. What I like is the distinction here between the back neck, the trapezius muscle right here. This one that goes to the back of the head, basically, and the one here in the front. Let me look at the name if you want to look it up and see some references. It's called the sternocleidomastoid. So this one here, sternocleidomastoid. So as we talked before, we have this nice incline here, and then we have this harsh corner here going straighter up, basically. We don't have this very, very smooth transition, but we have a more harsh corner here. So that's good. Let's look at the face. One thing you can look at is the eyes. It's hard to really gauge how big the eyeballs are, but just to kind of mention it again, the eyeball width equals 7 eyeballs next to each other equal the head width. You can make them a little bit smaller, maybe 6.5 for females, for example, or males. It can vary a little bit, but 6.5 to 7 is basically a good size for the eyeballs. And then you can, I guess, model the eyelids around the eyeballs, for example. If you want to see what I mean, you can look at my follow along eye sculpting tutorial if you're interested in that. There you can see how I do it. And the eyelids, if you look at the width of the eyelids, because the eyelids are wider than the eyeballs themselves, the eyelids are basically 5 eyelids next to each other, equal head width. Which means that you can place one eyelid here in the middle, and that equals the width in between these eyes too. And another one, so what I mean here is basically, if you grab this width here, and you place it in the middle, so this space right here should basically equal this width. Another one you can look at is the placement of the corner of the eye. If you take the outer part of the nostril and we move this up, straight up, that's basically where the corner of the eye should start. It seems to be in a pretty good position, so that you probably don't need to change that. One thing that I noticed is that the mouth is quite thin right now. That could maybe be a little bit wider. A good rule for that would be to place the corner of the mouth roughly in the middle of the eye, or maybe a little bit like in this quarter or this half somewhere. So, you know, somewhere in here. It's already somewhat in there, but I think you can make it a little bit wider maybe. So if we do that real quick, I kind of want to keep those notes. Let's liquefy it up. You can probably make it just a little bit wider here. There you go. He looks very lean right now. It could be your attention. It could be, you know, could be exactly what you wanted. But I think what you could maybe consider is adding, especially here, you can see it goes very deep into the face. Like, fat is basically the thing that smooths a face. This looks very good if it comes to like if you exclude the fat, but you would probably have a little bit of fat sitting here, as we said before, kind of making this part a little bit smoother than what it is right now. Yeah. If you don't have any fat, it looks like this, you know. So it looks very good. If you don't want to, if he's very lean, but that's one thing you can consider if you want to give him, you know, a slightly rounder face. I think the biggest thing that you can look at is the corner of the eye. Not this one, but this one here. The corner of the eye hole, I guess you could say. The corner of the eye hole is basically for almost all people very, very deep. So this part is probably the deepest part of the eye. This part is covered by fat. This part is covered by fat. And then this part here sort of transitions over to here and gets deeper and deeper and deeper into the eye, basically. Let's look at some references. Well, this one's here, you can see it. See how this part is see how deep we can go into the eye here. If you compare the distance from the eye corner here to the nose bridge, to the top of the nose, for example, here, or the nose bridge, you know, right there. If you compare that to this one here, you can see the distance is quite short. It's a little bit harder to see here, of course, because it's from the front view, but we also have a side view, luckily. So you made it, you know, you did it correctly. You posted a front view and a side view. Good job. But this one's an old side view, but we can work with that. What you can see here is that the distance is quite short. It's kind of hard to see in this view, but we'll take it. You could argue that this is supposed to be an Asian person. Asian people oftentimes have flatter faces. I'm going to show you what I mean. We can take this one as comparison. Asian face side view. If you look at this one here, what you can see is that that here, for example, you could argue it's supposed to be an Asian person. Asian people oftentimes have a yeah, flatter face basically. So the nose bridge isn't as wide, or isn't as long. Let me grab the 2 here. It's not as long. You can basically, I think you can see the difference quite big. Basically, the distance from here, all of this is way closer to the face. So we can see like a straight line going down here, and then we have the face is quite close to that line. But if you do the same here, do we have another profile view? I don't think we do. Oh no. This triangle here that we see here in the front would be further out and goes higher to the eyebrows basically. So you can consider it's an Asian person, so that 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 could be a reason why it's closer together. I would accept that, but then I think you could consider moving the bridge a little bit further back, because even for this one here, for example, the bridge has like a small curve here at the end, or between the eyes. So what you could consider doing here is you could go into here and just kind of move the bridge, move it a little bit further back like this maybe. I was gonna ask if you thought he looked Asian. Not my intent. Didn't know. Okay, yeah. That's one reason why if you scope somebody, they could look Asian. If you want to fix it, what you could try is just kind of, let me show you. So yeah, we can do that in here. So what I would say is you could move, oh, hello. You could give the face more depth. So basically move all of this further forward. This looks super weird. Let's see if we can bring it back to normality. Oh no. Okay, that looks kind of weird, but there you go, something more like this maybe. So you have more depth in the front, maybe even a little bit higher. There you go. Yeah, do you see the difference? Do you see it? That's one thing you can consider. Just kind of moving this a little bit further forward. Maybe referencing some good old Caucasian side view faces. That is pretty good. You mentioned something about the ear real quick. I want to mention that, or I want to go over that real quick, and then we're gonna go to the next one. First, I think the ears are scuffed, but I'll work on it. Yeah, you can give me a new version. I think the depth is pretty good. I think the shape overall the shape of the eye, the ear is basically like a half heart. So something more like this. So make it a little bit rounder, maybe give it some more depth, especially here on this shape right there. On this part here. Here's the half shape, half heart. Yeah. That's something you can consider to make it look a little bit more natural. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, there you go. Pizzazz. There you go. Again. The next one is by Hustler. He's been waiting since the beginning. Now it's his turn. One thing real quick. I see Brazilian Dutchy, you posted yours. Looks pretty cool. I'm gonna go over this at the end. Usually, basically when I start the feedback sessions, basically the end sort of the submissions. I'm gonna include this one as a an I guess you could say exception. Okay, but usually, you know, you can submit the next piece all the way, you know, in the next 2 weeks, and then we're gonna look at them in the you know, now in 2 weeks basically, and everything that has been posted since then we're gonna look at. And if somebody posts something, for example, while we're doing the stream, then I need to push it at some point back into the next week. I always feel bad doing it, so I will include yours today, but I want to enforce that rule because you know, I kind of want to avoid that. I start the stream, kind of, I guess, allocate a certain time to everyone, and then there are 3 more pieces, and you know, everything gets very messy. Okay. The next one is by Hustler. Have to go to bed soon. You can do that. Do it later. I don't mind. Okay. I can also maybe encourage others to give feedback on it if you wanna get feedback on it earlier. Okay. So if you have any feedback, you can give him. There you go. There you go. Yeah. You can do that. I encourage you to do so. Okay, let's go to the next one. Hustler. Where am I? I'm in the wrong folder. There it is. It's the turn. I don't need this anymore. Thank you. Okay. Here's his, oh no. Why 100? I can work with 85, but why 100? Let me bring it back to 50, okay? There you go. So, he created a full body sculpt. He wanted to do an écorché, practicing the body. I think what I want to do... Wait, is everything... Okay, I knew it. What is your setup? Do you have a second... I'm guessing you have a second monitor where you have all the other parts of the... Ah, there you go. Okay, never mind. Okay, let me do something real quick. Oh, well that doesn't work. Can I just apply modifiers? I can't. Well, that's too bad. Let me go through these again real quick. Okay, there are quite a few, I see. Come on. Oh, I can't see them all. Well. Right, come on. There you go. You're making this harder on me, Blender. There you go. A few more, and then we can begin. Come on. Select all and do Control J. Yeah, it doesn't work. That's what I did in the beginning. It removes all the modifiers, which is why we lost half of the body, basically. What is that? Oh, interesting. Okay, there you go. Okay, so now we can join everything. Not K, J. There you go. Okay. Okay. So, okay. Let's go over it. The first thing that I noticed is you don't need to think about that. I didn't expect you to think about it. you don't really know how I would, approach this, so you can't really, know it. Okay, so the first thing that sort of came to mind for me is his shoulders look kind of narrow. It's I'm guessing it's supposed to be a male figure. It could be a female figure. If that's the case, then maybe I'm wrong. But for a female figure, for a male figure, as we read in the Wikipedia article, on average, the ratio between hip width and shoulder width is 1 to 1.8. So the shoulders should be wider than the hips. The bones, not the muscles themselves. I think why? Then afterwards, I sort of asked myself, why does it look so thin? Why are the shoulders so narrow? I think it's because of the head. That's why I mentioned it before. The head, you need to kind of get the proportions for the head perfect, basically, to create a good head, to create a good body. Because if you use the head as the anchor point for all the proportions in the body, and it's too narrow, then the shoulders, for example, will be very narrow. Use the female skeleton and male muscles because they were more defined. Okay. Well, then it's different. But okay. Let's just say this is a male body, okay? So what you could do. Okay, well, this doesn't work. So what you could do is you could make the head a little bit wider. As we said before, up here would be the widest part. Not all the way in the back, but more over here. There you go. So it's a little bit wider here. Found out after I already made it that it was a female skeleton. Okay. Well, now you know. So you have that, and then you have, hold on. Okay. Then you have the shoulders, which are wider. Wait, is the skeleton another one? Oh no. Okay, hold on. I see. Oh my god. Well, can you just click on this? No, you can't. Okay. Come on. There you go. Okay. So, yeah, the shoulders can be a little bit wider, and then which would look something more like this. There you go. Of course, then we have the arms look a little bit different because right now they're bent. When you look at the male shoulders, one thing you will notice is that the muscles from the shoulders here go quite far into the middle. So they could probably not only go to there. Hold on, let me grab my D. They could not only just go from here to there, but they could actually go from here to over here. That's where you can place the shoulder muscle. It goes all the way from here to there. Another thing that we talked about before when it comes to the placement of the neck or the trapezius is that you can draw a line from the shoulder to the trapezius. So it would look something like this. Oh, well, that's there you go. So you can put everything in one line. The trapezius kind of comes from the neck or from the back of the neck, goes to the side here, connects to the clavicle, right here. Da-da-da. Why? Yeah, the color is kind of bad. There you go. Kind of connects to the clavicle right here. Goes to the neck right here. And it kind of, this line here continues with the shoulder muscle. If you want to see an example of that, you can look at Roberto. Look at him. Look at his flawless body. And if you look at it right here, you can see the line that I mean. You see the shoulder right here? It goes over to the tricep, I mean the trapezius, and then, you know, it connects to the head. You go the same in the other direction, goes down, connects to the clavicle right here, and the line continues because of the shoulder muscle. Okay. That's one thing. Another thing is, I think the shoulders right now are quite thin. Let me do something real quick. There you go, because we want to fix stuff or adjust stuff. Well, that's awkward. Can we not change? Oh. Well, that works. A little bit, at least. There you go. So something more like this. Isn't there some sort of automatic auto masking? There you go. Face sets, hold on. Aha. Something more like this. Another one is that the trapezius, as we looked at the this one here, it goes very, very far to the back. So these two muscles here don't really touch. They're very close right now. Is that the anatomical figure's legal name? No, that's my name for him. It's basically the real life version of the dude that you can see in the rules post. That's the real life version of him. Okay, there you go. Okay, it goes further here. It also connects to the head, like this. So you have like a smooth transition from the head to the neck, like this. Another one here. This one, it doesn't. It actually gets wider. The further it goes to the head here. He's gone from the rules, is he? So if you look at it here, it starts off very thin, right here. The camera's having trouble. It starts off very thin, and then it gets wider as it goes to the ear. So I think that is just because of the modifiers that you've used, but it is actually wider here. There you go. Okay. Another one is that the chest muscle can probably be a little bit lower. If you look at the reference here again, you can see it's quite low. It basically connects to the shoulder in its last quarter, you could say. So you could probably move the shoulder, I mean the chest a little bit lower here, because it basically wants to connect to the lower upper arm muscle. Oh, we have a problem right here. What is the problem? Well, the biceps is in the way. The biceps is not supposed to be in the way. So where does it need to go? It needs to go underneath the pecs. So we need to move the muscle here underneath it. It basically goes from the shoulder into the it connects to the clavicle or the shoulder blade. So it kind of moves kind of down like this. into the body. And the pecs, the chest muscles sort of take over here. So it looks something more like this. You can skim over the muscles a little bit, don't have to redo all of them. Save the time. What do you mean say redo? I don't redo them, I adjust them. Okay. Or, well, do you want to know something specific? Or I thought, you know, you posted your reference, or you posted your what is it? Or do you want to get more like liquid info rather than, or spoken info rather than me doing it? We can do that too. One thing that I noticed is that down here, generally speaking, the ankles, so where the arm goes to the hand, as well as the legs go to the foot, those are very thin. I think the legs right now look very thick. I think you can move this part here a little bit further into the middle. Most of the volume for the calves are over here. Oh, hello. So yeah, you can make the calf down here a little bit thinner. There you go. Looking at it from here, you can probably move this over here a little bit too. Okay. Of course, these connect to the heel here. Okay. Another one is the right here. If you look at the leg, these two muscles here, I think the yellow part here is the bone, right? These two would connect to the bone, so they would be very deep in here. There you go. And then these ones would also connect to the bone, so they also need to be quite close to the body and connect in between them here. There you go. Okay. We're just gonna probably make this a little bit thinner too. I think overall the volume here for these muscles can be a little bit more, you know, improved, or can be a little bit wider, you could say. Give them some more volume. I think they can have some more. Middle a little bit less than the outside, but I think the sort of, it has quite a strong contrast between thickness and, I guess, thinness on the legs. If you look at him, for example, see how there's a stark contrast between the ankle and up here, how wide it is up here, and how thin it is down here. Yeah, I think the legs can be a little bit thinner in the ankles, and then a little bit wider maybe here. Another one is maybe here, up here. Of course, you could say, well, the body isn't that muscular, that the one that I sculpted here, or that I created here. But I will say no to that. I will say this will be a muscular body, because, at least in my opinion, that's the best way to to learn anatomy. Okay, so we can maybe make the thighs a little bit bigger here, give them a little bit more volume, like this. There you go. Okay. I have to find one good reference and try to recreate it. I've used way too many references for the muscles, and some of them group the muscles in different ways. Yeah, I think a good one would be this one. That would be my recommendation. And if you want to look deeper into it, you could, for example, look at stuff like this one here for the neck, or we have one for this one here is very good too. this one here, or the hips, for example, or legs overall. Yeah. Okay. So that's that. I unfortunately don't have a before and after, but I guess I can save it anyway. Your little skilly version 2. Okay. Let's go to the next one. The next one is posted by JK. He posted the next character. His question: what do you think about this work? Let's see what we think about it. There it is. So I haven't made any mistakes as I thought I would. Yeah, I think no. You know, it just comes down to, I think if I would, one thing I think that can help you is looking at the attachments where they attach to the body. I think that can help you the most. Looking at the good thing is if you just kind of know the bone, I mean the muscle name, you can just look it up. So like, for example, if you go to the chest, it's called the pectoralis major. We just go pectoralis major. There you go. And then we can basically immediately see like only this muscle on the skeleton, and we can see where it's placed. I think that's one of the best ways to see or to kind of build your muscles out, or your écorché, because you can see exactly where they're supposed to connect and how they sort of build on top of each other. Okay. Or you just look up some Sam Webster videos. Okay. Okay, let's look at this one. So for this one, we have this handsome person. I think I don't want to focus on the neck, because the neck looks quite rough. I guess what you could say is, you could say, well, you could maybe give it you could probably pronounce or create a more realistic structure for the body, or for the neck. I don't really think that is you know, something you wouldn't agree with. Or hold on, you know, I think this one's not really something you paid attention to, so I don't want to pay attention to it myself too much. Shout outs to Sam Webster. Okay. Yeah. So let's look at the face. One thing I always need to preface in the beginning is that I will look at any of these characters as if they're supposed to look realistic. If they're not supposed to look realistic, then you need to mention that in the post, because otherwise I will always expect, or I will always critique it like it is a realistic character, basically. Okay. Well, the first thing, of course, you could say, well, you know, I think the eyes are quite big. You know, I think that's the first one that we could say, that you could consider changing. The big eyes kind of make me think that it's not supposed to look realistic, but, you know, the thing is, with stylized characters, you can make the eyes almost as big as you want, so it's kind of hard to give feedback on them. But I'm gonna what did I do? Oh, yeah, I'm gonna treat this like a, oh, dude, like a realistic character. So the eyes could probably be smaller. The corner of the eye would begin where the nose, the widest part of the nose is, the nostril. So what we could say is we could maybe make the nose actually a little bit wider. There you go, just a little bit, to kind of make it a little bit clearer, the structure. We could also talk about the structure of the nose itself. I think the nose right now looks a little bit flat here on the bridge. It sort of starts off very flat, which is okay. But then it sort of transitions over to the nose tip very flatly too. I think we can give it some more depth by just kind of highlighting the transition from the nose bridge to the nose tip. Something more like this maybe. There you go. Just kind of increasing the... it probably looks kind of weird if I do it in here, but something more like this. To kind of, you know, show the structure of the nose a little bit. Kind of, you know, improve the structure a little bit, I guess. One thing that we noticed, that we said before, are the lips. I think the lips right now lack a little bit of depth. One reason for that would be the corner. I mean the crease of the mouth. It doesn't look like it's two layers lying on top of each other, because the crease here looks still pretty smooth. As we said before, what you could try is you could use the crease version that increase the you can change the fall off to sharp. That could help in making this crease very sharp and making it look very deep. Because right now it kind of looks like he glued his lips together. That's sort of what I mean with a missing depth, basically. Another thing you could say, or you could maybe change, is the width of the mouth. I think it can be a little bit wider, maybe. It doesn't have to be, but that's one thing you could try, just a little bit wider. There you go. It's hard to really accentuate the lip shape because we don't have like a sharp edge, and I can't really just add it myself. I could try though. Maybe kind of, you know, making the lip structure here, the outer edge, a little bit clearer can help too. There you go. Okay. I think overall it will benefit you a lot if you look at the lip muscles as well as the nose anatomy. I think that can help you a lot. Maybe overall the planes of the face again, but in particular the structure of the nose and the structure of the lips. Yeah. The eyes, let's just, you know, cover the eyes real quick. If we say those are supposed to look realistic, or you know, they're supposed to look realistic, and then we could say, well, here's the nostril. We go up, it would probably be somewhere closer in the middle, right here. The eyes themselves look pretty big compared to the overall size of the head, so we would probably move them a little bit together like this. There you go. Welcome, Face Curious. Hi. Hi, rosy cheeks. Welcome. Hope you enjoyed your Thursday. Something like this, maybe. Oh, this looks horrible. There you go. Okay, wow, the left one just looks horrible. I'm sorry, I completely destroyed your sculpt, your character. There you go. Another thing you could consider is, well, the hair. I think you used a curve for the hair, so that's why it looks like this. If you want to play around with stylized hair, what you could try is you could try my stylized hair kit. The stylized hair kit you could find probably, if I look at on topic, maybe. If we go in here, can I search for something? Hair. But let me look at kit. Can I find kit? No kit in here. Well, let's just look for kit in here. Have you tried my haircut? There it is. Yesterday we talked about a style for stylized hair that I like and want to use it in the future. There it is. So if you look for kit in the Discord, you will find this link. And this link is basically a link to my kits that I have, I guess, that you can download, resources that you can download. And these ones includes a hair kit that you can try and use for your hair. It basically includes multiple different hair strands, stylized hair strands, you could say, that you can include and use for your character sculpt. It's best to use them all together and create a mix between them. Yeah, Right now they look very, very, I guess, one-dimensional, let's say. Everything is sort of one plane. Even though you've created the structure here, it still looks very... It looks more like hair because of these ridges, but it lacks the three-dimensionality because there are these flat planes basically lying over each other. You could say, well, those are layers, but I think the layers can be intersecting more. That's what I mean with layering, basically. Yeah, I think we're gonna use the stylized haircut for Chun-Li, so that's the first time I'm actually gonna use it. How could you? What do you mean? Thanks for giving us your precious time. Well, thank you for giving me your time or spending your time here. Okay. Yeah. Another thing you can consider is the jaw. Oftentimes from the front view, it could just be the focal length again, but you can basically almost always, if you don't have too much fat on your face, I guess, which sounds kind of weird, you can basically see sort of the corner of the jaw here on the side. Maybe not as much, but it, at least rounded at least. This one's maybe a little bit sharper than it needs to be, but this sort of corner here is basically in every person that I've seen so far. Maybe I'm misremembering, but if I have, then discount this opinion, okay? Okay. Another thing is maybe that the eyebrows are quite far away from the eyelids or the eyes themselves. Let's look at some references. Maybe there are some people that have quite high eye. Well, here, I guess you could say, I think the distance is okay, actually. I oftentimes like to place the eyebrows themselves quite close to the eyelids themselves. But yeah, I guess they can be quite far away too. So that's not too bad. But what you can say about the eyebrows is that they have a certain placement. If you go from the middle of the lips right here, and we draw a line, and basically we draw a line from here to here, and we continue that line, that is basically where the eyebrows should end. They seem to be in a pretty good position for this. Yeah, one thing that you usually see for eyebrows is like a small hook ending, so it goes up and then it goes slightly down or horizontal. Maybe you could add a little bit more of that into the sculpt. I'm going to show you what I mean. Da-da-da. Something like this. There you go. Something like that. Okay. Well, the ears are elf ears, so I can't really say much about that. Maybe the structure, but it's hard to see the structure in here. Pin edges. Oh. Yeah, okay. I like the depth in the eyes right here. The depth right here looks really good. Nice and deep right here. So that's good. I like that. What you can also consider is the curve of the lower eyelid. The curve of the lower eyelid most of the time is pretty shallow, you could say. So if you look at some references here, like this one, what you can oftentimes see is that the lower eyelid is it's not horizontal, but it has a very, very low or shallow curve right here. Or here, compared to the upper eyelid. See how much rounder the upper eyelid is than the lower eyelid? Right where your sculpt's at. He's been slacking. Look at this one too. Very shallow, very round. Looking at even for her, this one's a little bit closer, but still This one's almost horizontal. This one's quite, it's more round, you know, compared to that. And even for her, you can see how much rounder it is. So what you could consider is you could just make this a little bit more shallow. Oftentimes what you can also see with the lower eyelid is that it starts quite horizontal and then it starts the curve downwards. So you have like a horizontal part right here, and then it sort of curves down at the end. There you go. We do the same on this side. Okay. I think you could maybe also say that the eyelids right now are quite wide open. You could maybe lower them a little bit here. Maybe more like this. You look sad now. There you go. I think that would make it, you know, I think that's a little bit more realistic. Good rule would be that the iris, if you have it in here, the iris touches the lower eyelid and gets covered by the upper eyelid more than the lower eyelid at least. So if you would place it in here, it would look something more like this, for example. Well, that's you know, you might ask, well, it looks weird. Let me show you what I mean. It looks like this. There you go. Okay. One more thing, maybe the head is quite big at the top. I think maybe you could kind of reduce the the head size. You could say, well, that's the hairstyle. I guess you could say that. Maybe you could argue that it's more aesthetics that I critique here when it comes to the head size. But you can maybe push it down just a little bit. There you go. So this is after, and this is before. After, before. Da-da-da, da-da-da. Yep. So there, those are a few things you can consider. Okay. Let's go. Oh, we have even some face shape settings here. Ooh. Okay. Let's go to, I think, the last one. Oh, wrong one. Which is by Passion. I thought that I wouldn't have time to improve, but here's the second version. Important, not so important. Okay, nice. Nice joke. Nice bait. I just wanted to let you know that I'm watching the stream, and instead of applying each modifier one by one, you can just select everything and press Ctrl A. Click on visual geometry to mesh. It will apply everything. Oh, thanks for the tip. That's a good tip. Well, I have maybe a little bit too late now, but you know, I guess for the next one, it's good to know. Okay, yeah, let's look at this one. So one thing that I notice here is that I can open the first file, but I can't open the second and third file for some reason with 7 RAR or whatever it's called. So I wonder if in these second two here there's something important in there. I don't know. So you know. I don't know. It didn't seem like it, because when I set it to rendered, you can see the everything gets rendered pretty well, and the eyes didn't have any textures on them, so I expected there to be nothing. There you go. See, there's nothing in here. So I expected... What is that? Did you put an Easter egg in here? Hold on. Lumpy, don't mind the lump. Oh, okay. Okay. Let's go into the sculpt. Do we need this? We don't need this. I'm going to remove everything that we don't need, okay? So many heads. Okay. Let's make a new collection. There you go. Version 2. Okay. Move all of this out of here. What do we need? Wait. Those are the eyes. They can move there. Okay, perfect. Okay. Let's go into the sculpt. What is this, by the way? I guess you want to see the silhouette. That's what you wanted to do here. You wanted to only see the silhouette. I actually don't know how you set this up. I guess there's some sort of visual settings for it. Okay. So let's go through the standard things first, and then we can go to some more, I guess, unconventional stuff afterwards. Okay, so first of all, nose, corner of the eye, it looks good to me. It's a little bit further out, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be always exactly there. Nose shape, as we said, the first thing. Nose shape, we have the oval shape. I think the nostril wall is quite wide right now. We can probably make it a little bit thinner here. Just a little bit. Oh, hold on. 1024 samples. Okay. There it is. 0. Make it a little bit wider here. Well, that's quite strong. Okay. And then what we can also do is we can move this here. We can make this wider. There you go. It can be quite wide, as we said before. Okay, something like this. What I like to do sometimes is I like to create this nice curve here. Like this. I kind of want to have some pinch here. 0.3 should be good. So something like this. And then I like to sort of connect these two. It doesn't have to be this way. And then what I also like to do is I like to move this a little bit further back. So we have a nice sharp corner here at the end. Like this. That's just, you know, what I like to do sometimes, but you don't have to. It can also look like this. Okay. Let's look at the nose. One more thing that we said before, that we covered in one of the previous ones, is the silhouette. If you look at the silhouette, the nostril is quite close to the silhouette. I think we can space it out some more. So we're going to grab this and we're just going to move it a little bit further forward. Right here. Give it some more room to breathe, okay? There you go. I'm just going to highlight the edge right here a little bit more because I want to. I think it helps. What I like to do is I like to make the corner or the edge of the lips quite sharp here in the middle, not only for the upper lip but also for the lower lip. Like this. There you go. That might just be personal preference, but yeah. Okay. The next thing is the placement of the corner of the lip, which looks pretty good. It is in between here. It's quite far back. It's still in that space, I think. It's actually behind the eyelid. That's a new one. So we can move this a little bit further forward. There you go. So put it in this space. What we could consider is we could consider moving all of this here a little bit further forward. Because right now, it's hard to do myself. It, you know, it's hard to show, but I think the jaw is quite far back right now. So I probably want to move all of this a little bit further forward. I don't really have a good rule for it. I think it's more, I guess, practice or more experience where to place it. But I think that can help here. There you go. Okay, looking at that, that's good. I think the libs, again, I think you can give them some more depth. The way I like to give them depth is I like to take the lips here and, for example, just draw them a little bit closer than the upper lip. So the upper lip would end somewhere over there. So we draw them a little bit closer, smooth it right here. There's going to be a lip tutorial next week too. So if you have any questions about how I sculpt the face, for example, there will be, all the tutorials will be out next week. The nose will be out tomorrow. I would be lying if I said there wasn't at least one likeness that I've been spending time on. Nice. Time to post it. Let me go into the lips real quick. So what we can do here is we can probably deepen this part a little bit more. I like to add a little bit of a cut in there too. Kind of highlight the muscle right there just a little bit. Okay. I also like to use, as we said before, switch this to sharp and then make it a little bit bigger. Just to kind of deepen this part a little bit more. That can help. Another thing is the structure of the lips. I think you can increase, or you can highlight the structure a little bit more. What I see here is that you've added the middle piece here. The side pieces look quite flat right now though. What you could consider is you could just kind of add some more volume here on the side to make the upper lid a little bit more voluptuous, voluminous. Give it some more volume here, give it some more structure like this. That can help too. And then you can use the crease brush again, just kind of add a little V right there to distinguish the three shapes. You can also, to make the lips a little bit more interesting, what you can try is you can move the sides here, for example, in the half of the lips a little bit higher to give them like this nice hard shape. That can very quickly make the lips, I think the lips look a little bit more feminine this way, but they also, yeah, give it in somewhat interesting shape. Okay. One more thing. Again, the lip width. Let me actually look at some references just so I can see. Maybe I'm just horribly wrong, but he has quite thin lips, you could say. I think one thing you can notice is when you have thinner lips, they're further forward. Maybe I'm wrong. Actually, no. I guess it's more aesthetics and how you want to create your character. But if you look at some references here, for example, these ones maybe are more bigger lips, for example. You can see the corner, if you go up, is somewhere in the eyelid. Maybe here at the border, at the corner, at the edge. If we look at this one here, going up, it's also pretty close to the eyelid, to the iris. For him, well, okay, well, that doesn't work. Can we, hold on. Let me look at one more. Maybe, well, that's, for him, for example, he has quite narrow lips too. So it's definitely more, I guess, person-based, but I think you can make them a little bit wider. I think that can help with the overall look. There you go. One more thing, for females, oftentimes, the the lips are close to, like the distance here is quite close. So the distance between the lips and the bottom of the nose is quite close. That rhymed. So what I like to do is I like to just grab this. There you go. Make it nice and smooth. Invert. And just kind of move it up a little bit. Okay. Just a little thing, but that's that can help too. There you go. And then I think here comes the reason why I think the chin and lips were so far back. And I think that is because of the neck right here. Let's look at some references real quick. There you go. We can see the distances can be quite long. Here you can see. But I think it's a little bit too long right now for your head. So what I would suggest is one thing you can see, for example, for Roberto, is that the jaw ends in the middle of the head, and the ear takes up sort of not necessarily half of the other half, but maybe a little bit less than half. If you kind of transfer, oh sorry, that was probably super loud. Maybe not. Excuse me. If you kind of apply that here, you could probably see that it might be. I think it's not right in the middle. We could probably, to fix that, we could probably move the head right here further forward. We can probably also push it down a little bit, not too much. Move this forward a little bit, right here. Then we can make the neck a little bit thinner, and we can move all of this further forward. Happy bonk. There you go, and then we can continue the neck right here, which would transition over to the the overall neck, the chest part. Right here we have the oh, hello. Oh. We have the clavicle right there going to the shoulder. There you go. And then that looks already better, in my opinion. There you go. Maybe we can, one thing you can also talk about is that if you look from this side, the widest part, or the how can I say this? Like, looking at the silhouette, the part that is the furthest back, which is currently right here, is quite low of the head, for the head. So it can be somewhere down here rather. Something more like this, right there. Okay. Sounds like Minecraft music. No, that's not Minecraft. That's, I think that's Unlike Pluto. No, that's, yeah, I guess that's the artist, but he has a secondary name, I guess. It is. Oh, hello. Like Saturn, free roaming. Okay, yeah. So something like this maybe. The forehead looks pretty good. What I always think is hard to do is if you don't have an iris, to place the eye in, like to kind of place the eyelids around the eye. So I don't envy you there. One thing is that it looks kind of like there's some sort of hole here, what you could maybe do is you can use the crease brush to kind of attach it to the eyelid a little bit better. Right here. Maybe even make this a little bit deeper. What you oftentimes can see is that you have this sort of, you can follow a line from the eyelid going upwards like this, which sort of shows you the two planes of the face. You have one plane right here, and you have one plane right here. And there's like this distinct line in between them, which you can oftentimes see is being created by this eyelid, and then you can sort of veer off of it and create this line right there, which would look something like, oh no, there you go, something like that. Okay, one more thing, the fat above the eyelids, so this part here, is always underneath the eyebrows, the bone basically. Right now it's above it, it's in front of it. See how this volume here is further forward than this here where the eyebrow would be. So you could either strengthen the eyebrow or make it bigger right here. There you go. Or you could just kind of smooth this down a little bit, get rid of some of this volume, make it a little bit more softer. There you go. And if you combine the two, we can get something like this. Oh, hello. Okay. And then one more thing. Well, we have 30 seconds, so let's do it. As we said before, the inner corner of the eye, so we can probably dig in here a little bit more, like this. There you go. Make a nice transition here. Okay, and then we can change the shape just slightly. Maybe even a little bit lower here. Not too much. Okay. And then one more thing, the forehead is usually a little bit rounder. So we can either probably move this forward, or we can move the eyebrows back, but then I would have to also move the eyeball, so I don't want to do that. So I'm going to move the forehead a little bit back, forward, and then maybe the eyebrows a little bit further back. There you go. Okay. Oh, we can also highlight the ear real quick. The ear can be quite sharp in here. Another rhyme. The ear can be quite sharp in here. There you go. Yeah. It's kind of harder if you have this if you have this geometry, and then we can make this into a nice hard shape here too. There you go. And then we have the second version, V2. Let's look at before and after. So this is after. Let me save this real quick. V2. And then let's go to version 1. Wait. Okay. Oh. So that's version 1. Oh, I can't. Well, hold on. I need to duplicate this. Okay. Version 1. Version 2. 1. 2. 1. 2. If you go over the details real quick. Lips. From the front. Just a little bit. Slight change. The sort of Cupid's bow curve right there. It's more optional. We moved it a little bit closer to the nose to kind of make it look a little bit more feminine. Looking from the side, the nose and the lips. You can probably adjust it more, but here we are. There you go. Let me actually remove this so we can have a better contrast. There you go. Especially the jaw, you can see how it changes. Move it forward, then the lips also a little bit further forward. We can see especially the neck here, how it changed, just because we've added the front here, how much more natural it can look. Especially because now it's closer to the chin, for example. And we also moved the head. We made it a little bit smaller here, just to kind of make the half, you know, take this up, let this take up half of the head, and the rest is, I guess, open here or free. We can maybe even make this a little bit smaller if we wanted to, but we're gonna stay there. Some refinement here on the sides for the planes of the head. Right there. The ears too, just kind of, you know, there you go. And then the ear shape. Oh, and then of course the eyebrows. So this is the eyebrow before, this is the eyebrow after. Yep. There you go. You know what? What I'd like to do, if you want to give someone a smile, switch it to sharp, go to the corner, and just pull it back. Like this. There you go. Okay. There you go. It might not be, you know, the best to compare, but I mean, I can put it back. There you go. Okay. Yeah. So that's this concludes today's personal feedback session. Hope these were helpful tips. And yeah. I actually, while doing this, I had an idea for another segment that will be part of, well, another segment that I thought about a little bit longer already, but I fleshed out, I guess, more. I had a more detailed idea, which would be a session. Wait. Here. Basically, a feedback session about one person's piece, where either throughout the stream, maybe one half of the stream, maybe the full stream, we take, for example, the character and we do what we've done here. You know, we go through the character and we try to improve it, basically. I think that could be a cool, I guess, segment 2, kind of like a more advanced version of the personal feedback session. I would probably, because it's quite time intensive, you could say, I would probably put that behind some sort of paywall, just because you know, it would take a lot of time, and you know, if somebody's willing to pay for money for it, I am willing, very willing for it to do that. Of course, we're going to continue these personal feedback sessions for free, so I'm not going to put everything behind a paywall, okay? Just so you know, don't be scared. But stuff like that is more in the close to near future, okay? So it's not like we're going to do that next time. Just so you know, maybe you say it's a bad idea, then tell me. Maybe you say it's a good idea, then tell me. Yeah, but that's something that I had in mind. Maybe we'll do that. Something like that. Yeah. I have the ability to enable, what is it? Well, I have monetization on my main channel. I almost have monetization, I think, on the live channel. So I will probably over the weekend enable memberships on my main channel, which will just be, I don't know if, yeah, I need to think about any benefits maybe, but yeah, I will set that up over the weekend probably. So if somebody's interested, they can become a member and become a cool icon next to their name when they comment. I think the only problem is that you can't merge memberships between channels, so you can't really, you can only be a member. Well, you can of course pay twice, I guess, but you can't be a member like by joining on my main channel. You can't become a member here, for example, on the live channel. Yeah, but that's just something that'll come in the future. I hope you enjoyed today's stream. Thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for chatting or just being here. I hope all of these tips were helpful. I will, where I see like useful after stream value in the files that I've saved. So for this one, for example, I'm gonna make stuff like this where you can look back, or where you can go back into the file and look at like the changes in the image or in the file. I'm gonna put those in a drive folder for you to download. I'm gonna mention all people where I did that in the personal feedback channel, so they know that they can grab their new version in there. And yeah, that's what yeah, I'm gonna do that. Yeah, but I hope this was helpful. The next stream will be on Monday, of course, not tomorrow. So I hope everybody enjoys their weekend. Hope maybe, if you want to, you can watch the how to scope, or the nose sculpting follow along tutorial tomorrow. That'll come out. If you haven't seen it yet, the female body freestyle female body sculpt tutorial, time lapse, came out yesterday. So if you're interested in how I sculpted a female fit body, freestyle, I guess you could say, without any base mesh beforehand, feel free to check that out too. But yeah, that'll be for everything from me for this week. Hope you enjoyed the rest of your week and also the weekend. Thank you for joining, and yeah, take care.